difference only.
Okay, so 5 p.m., 6 p.m. Yeah, okay, fair enough. And I forgot to do something really quick, but that's fine. That's fine. That's something we'll worry about that later. I'll worry about that later. Anyways, guys, this like again, that's not important for this. This is actually more important. This is actually for the podcasting recording, so that's fine. All right, guys. We have we like it was a weird situation that we had here. We like the gods of the Saint Seiya news gods were like merciful during the time of us during the time we taking this break, and nothing happened. And then like when they found out that we were coming back, they just dumped everything on us.
Yes, they did.
So in lieu of a proper a proper discussion or a proper thing, I think we're just gonna just jump right into the news and then just do the episode discussion, and then that's about it. Because we got a lot to cover. We have so much like ground to cover. That's not even funny here. So, first things first. This actually involves you, Jackie. I believe in this month's issue of Shonen Champion, we do have a they did show off a new, is it a spin-off manga or is it a sequel manga to Saint Seiya Show?
It's been going actually for about a year now or so. The episodes have been really spread out, but yes, Santa Show they get it's not a sequel. It's called Memories because this is actually episodes that take place within the main run of the series.
Mm-hmm.
So there, yeah. It says that this is stories that could not be fit during the main run. So now I'm gonna get to show. So far, well, I mean, except for one episode, chapter that was digital, all of them have been released sporadically on Champion Red.
Mm-hmm.
Or in special occasion, or special, because Chimaki said that she wanted to go digital with this.
Yeah.
On the what is the name of the magazine? Cross. I forget. I'm getting the name of their.
Shonen Champion?
Their free digital. No. Yeah. There's the free digital magazine that they have, and that's where she wanted to publish Santa's show. But so far, only one manga episode that was actually published there. Everything else has come out in different Champion Red episodes. Champion Red monthly magazines.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that said, some of you are actually has already seen that finally completed my first part of my secret project, which was the scanulation, English translation of the Santa Show Memories episodes. I keep saying episodes because I know we're gonna do the anime review later. But yes, first manga chapter is out, and this is my first time to take on a scanulation project, so I'm really proud of it, and I'm also really thankful for my friend helping out with the translation, and also my other friend, my friend Toma did the translation, and Anna did the proofreading. So shout outs to those two girls. And man, scanulation is a lot of work. It's even more work to try to completely remove all the Japanese text from a color image and actually recreate the whole logo. But hopefully, guys like it. It looks really, really good. Or to almost make you believe that this is an actual translation, official translation, which hopefully one day we'll get. But I'm very proud of it, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And if anybody wants to just drop some comments on that, let me know what you think. And this is an ongoing project. It's not gonna be super fast, but I'm gonna work on it as best as I can. Hopefully I can get maybe one more chapter out by September. And all that depending because of my other project going on right now, which I'll talk about in a little bit later. So, yeah.
Yeah, so any of these links we'll post on our show notes, and also I think I also retweeted on Twitter when you posted because it was like, "Yo, this has to be shared with like a lot of people," because like we understand over on the show that we after our Saint Seiya Show episode with Maro de Cinco, we all kind of there was a strong contingency, like a very huge strong contingency of Saint Seiya Show fans, And you know it's really, it is really like, you know, I really want to like push, like, if there's anything that's Saint Seiya show related, I think we should push it out, especially when it comes to stuff that's not translated just yet. Like, yeah, we can talk about the stuff that's being released currently, that's available by like Seven Seas, but you know, I don't know when 17 is gonna is even gonna get in touch a lot of this stuff. So this is a good way of like those who want to continue reading the stuff that's currently outside of like what's available in the manga. This is actually a good way to like continue that as well. So, you know, good on you on this one. Because you have any thoughts on all of this?
I'm actually really happy on it. I don't want to completely say for sure. I might be wrong about this, but as far as I know, I don't think that I've found any translations for memories yet, like in any language, because I've been trying to find like the Spanish ones for a while, and as far as I know, nobody has done them. So this could actually be the first language that it got translated onto. So that'll be a huge help for people like me that love show and that want to be able to read the chapters, because you know, as even though right now I'm studying Japanese, I am years away from being able to understand
Yeah.
a manga. So so it's something that I really appreciate, and something that I'm going to be pushing quite a bit to all the people that I know that like show as well. So on that regard, I'm actually very thankful.
Hey, I mean that's you know, I always feel that show needs a little bit more love than I think it just needs that extra exposure. That said, I did come across a Portuguese translations. I was working on this.
Ah, okay.
Um but I don't remember I didn't save the link. I have not seen a Spanish one. I thought maybe someone might take up that project. I can say I actually had the Spanish translation myself, but because obviously we're an English podcast and I'm trying to push more of the English, you know, on this for the English speaking audiences. That's why I went with that. I kind of wish I would have saved each individual page where I did the lettering for this because I just use one big file. So, um, it might take me a while to actually get to it. However, I'll say this. I mean, as long as you're willing to do credit it properly, um, I don't mind if somebody wants to go ahead and do the Spanish lettering for this. If anyone is interested, then you can contact me. And all I ask is that, you know, they keep the page remains credited as it is, because my friend actually told me she did the translation in Spanish because that's her first language, and you know, I think that's for her is what's easier to translate, even though she can do them in English. So I did the English editing, and so you know, because I wanted to get it out in English. But if somebody else can get to it faster than me for the Spanish edition, by all means, you know, I'll be more than happy to work with you and just hit me up on my Twitter. I will not call it that X thing. That's all I'm
No,
gonna
no,
call it.
we're dead
It's
naming
Twitter
it.
is
We're
Twitter.
dead naming that shit. Let's go.
Yeah.
Anyways, keep going.
Yeah. So, but if yeah, because I know, you know, some people they still would prefer to read it in Spanish nonetheless. And you know, I want everybody to have access to it. It's just that me personally I'm focusing on the English, you know, translation. But yes, there is a Spanish translation for this as well. And, you know, just feel free to ask me.
All right.
But thank you everybody for, you know, checking it out. I appreciate all the retweets, you know, the likes, because that means people are seeing it and reading it. And that's what I was going for.
You know, again, if it's Saint Seiya related, like, and again, while I'm always down to post anything by Saint Seiya fans, I'm always posting fan art. I'm always retweeting fan art. I'm always retweeting cosplay. I'm always retweeting like if you're at an event and there's something Saint Seiya related, I will get it out there. Um, except one, and it's one that it's here on our docket, and then we can lead into this one as a matter of fact, because this is kind of weird. It's like I have no experience with this, and maybe because you can give me a little bit of a primer as to what's going on with this. Um, what was it? No. Okay, so so why don't we go on to our next topic here, which is that so there's a fan project by Haruken Studios which is a prelude to the Pegasus, which was released back in July, the last week of July, which is like what 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
And
just
Yeah, more or less.
so like I saw a little bit of it, but I was unsure like what was it about. If it was like just like a like if it was just like a it was like a whole animation or just like a little like one off thing or like what it was exactly. Because like I saw people posting and I was just kind of unsure what it was. So if you can enlighten the audience like what it is when like and what's important and stuff like that. So where's yours,
Yes, of
Becas?
course. Alrighty. To give a little bit of light onto this whole project. First of all, to clarify again, this is a fan project. It's a non-official project, animation project that has been going on for quite a while. It's called the people that are making it are called Hakuren Studios, and they are basically, as far as I'm concerned, the greatest disciples of Shingo Araki, because the way that they can imitate or not imitate, sorry, that's that
Emulate.
word. Thank you, emulate. That's a more appropriate word. Emulate the style of Araki is just uncanny. And you might have seen their work as a fan art posted along the years in social media. Actually, my profile picture for my social media accounts was actually I commissioned it to them. I have 3 commissions from them. Like their work is just astounding. Like they work wonderfully, and they're very professional. For many years, I'm not entirely sure exactly how long. I apologize, as some of the details do elude me, but basically, they have had a project that has been in development for quite some time because it's a very small studio, it's a very small group amount of people, and they're doing an animation project called Prelude to Pegasus. And the intention of this project is to basically tell the story of what happens after the Tenkai Hen Overture movie, the fifth Saint Seiya film. That, as many people might know, but some of you might not know, that fifth film was supposed to be the official canonical continuation of the series and was supposed to be a project of 4 movies that would tell the story of basically what's called the Heavens chapter or the Zeus chapter. Unfortunately, due to a lot of circumstances that we won't go into detail right now, that project failed and was left inconclusive. And it basically was just left because I'm not going to spoil the film here, but it basically ends up on a cliffhanger
Mm-hmm.
because the idea it was supposed to continue into another movie that never got made. There are a lot of people that have a lot of appreciation and that have a lot of interest for what could have been from that project uh, when it comes to the Saint Seiya animation. And basically, this fan project from Hakuren tries to tell the story of what happens after that first movie. I have not been able to watch the episode myself. I've had a lot of things going on my plate this past couple of weeks, but I do intend to watch it eventually. But it is in Spanish. I have to clarify that. As far as I know, I don't think that there are subtitles, but I might be wrong on that. If I stand corrected, I'll be sure to inform people. But it is made by Spanish speaking people, and it's a very important project for a couple of reasons. First, I would like to point out that in just a couple of weeks that it's been on, because it's on YouTube, it has already gathered more than 1.1 million views. Yes. So I think that okay. Here's the thing. Again, I don't want to go into a rant right now. It's not the time or place. That whole Tenkaichen project is a very, very complex and complicated matter when it comes to Saint Seiya because regardless of what people think about it, I would like to clarify I am not somebody that appreciates that project for a lot of reasons. I actually do not have it in high regard for many personal reasons. But the biggest one that it's factual and that cannot be denied regardless of how you feel about the movie is that entire project has left a stain when it comes to Sensei animation since it was made that Sensei has not been able to recover from since then.
Mm-hmm.
So and that has given us a lot of problems. We've discussed this before, like the animations that have followed have not been up to par to what the quality should have been or what we as fans of the franchise would like it to be. And this just only goes to show that it's not about there not being any interest on the franchise because there is, and this clearly shows it. That's the point that I'm trying to remark more than anything else. The people want these types of projects. The people want Sensei animation. They want good quality Sensei animation. And I think that the fact that a fan project has gathered this much attention just goes to show both the level of importance and interest that the people have for it, as well as the incompetence that Toei Animation has had with this franchise over the last years. And if anything comes out of this project, this is personal views. I'm not speaking for anybody else. I'm just speaking for myself. But if anything comes out of this project, as far as I know, it's going to continue. It's just episode one of what's supposed to be many episodes to tell this story that they're trying to tell. If anything comes out of it, I hope that Toei Animation actually pays attention and realizes somebody there actually realizes that there is interest, and they just need to get their stuff together in order to be able to pull something correctly for this franchise.
Yeah, I will agree. Like I just looked it up really quick here on the side. Okay, so what it is basically, it's a full on like episode. Like it is like I thought it would just
It's
be like
45 minutes.
34 minutes, but close enough.
34 minutes? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I was probably taking into account the small interludes. But yeah, I actually did watch it live when it premiered.
Oh,
I
nice.
I think that during that week I think I was at Comic Con that week, so I had like no idea what was going on. I was kind of like in my own little bubble when it came to a lot of that stuff. But now that you kind of brought that up, and now that I see like oh wow, I thought it was like this quick like 5-10 minute thing. No, I thought it's like a 35-minute thing, and it's just like,
You're not entirely wrong. Here's the thing. Actually, there was. I thought this had actually been released last year. What was about a 5 minute teaser or so. I was under the impression that that was the whole Prelude to Pegasus animation. I just started randomly hearing about this project and I looked it up. I understood that this was originally a fan fiction and they actually Hakura series made it happen where everybody wishes their fan fiction could actually come to life. They did it. And it's Ben has to sum up everything that Ben has said. Sometimes you want something done right, you really have to do it yourself. And this project shows it because they use that Iraqi style that everybody, fans have been begging for. That this is what the kind of stories they want to see. That they have not been able to reproduce, I think, since Hades. It's just not been up to par. And, honestly, I was really impressed. Yeah, you could tell maybe, and this is just my opinion, I feel maybe a few parts you can tell where this is our fan animation. But not because no, I mean it's impeccable, it's clean. I have nothing to say. It's just that I can say that I can see it's a fan project because it's operating with a limited budget. But the irony of that is that you have Toei, who should have much bigger budget, but they still have produced a lot of crap in the past 10 years or so.
yeah,
So
yeah.
Toei, take note.
Well, not just that, like I mean, and I mean, like you said, it's like one of the things one of the things that's kind of disappointing is that Toei is just kind of like coasting on the name itself and not really putting any real effort into it. Even though, like, yeah, like there's a lot of input from like like the creators and stuff like that. It's like you could do more. And I'm thumbing through, I'm like I'm looking through this, like I'm just scrolling through this project, on mute. And it's like they did an incredible job. And I'm saying, like, look, I'm not saying I'm saying like if you guys can hire these guys, perfect. That'd be so cool. But it should be assigned to Toy. It's like, look, we want something. We don't want the leftovers. We want something more for Saint Seiya other than just something that you guys got out. Like something you just got out just so you can like please your stock. To please the rights holders, stuff like that. This is. So we want something a little bit more serious. We want something a little bit more, with a little bit more quality, and if even if it means like even if it means taking sacrifices, like people want this, and people really want like want this kind of thing, this big grandiose Saint Seiya experience again, because like we haven't had. I mean, we've had huge Saint Seiya things before. I mean, we just had the movie, but nothing with that kind of quality, if that makes sense. Like the quality, I mean, I'm not saying that the stuff like the movie was not quality. There's some great things in the movie, but let's not kid ourselves. It's kind of it's kind of a mid movie, to be honest. But
It
People
has
want the
it has noticeable
animation.
flaws,
Hmm.
and yeah, as you mentioned, it's about. And here's the unfortunate part of it. As much as I personally incline quite more towards the written media, well, written and illustrated media of Saint Seiya, where it has been blooming, and there's no other word to describe it, has been blooming for decades. And no matter how you feel about it, the matter of fact is that Saint Seiya is very much alive and well when it comes to manga. But when it comes to animation, which is unfortunately what most people are exposed to, and what most people unfortunately want more than to look at the comic book, then that's where it's been so lackluster and so it has been such a lack of attention towards this franchise that you cannot help but feel frustrated at how poorly it has been handled with many decisions, both in terms of the projects themselves as well as the people in charge of it. That it has led to many people to say the best thing that could happen to Sensei animation is Toei just giving up the rights and somebody else taking them, because it's not a matter of Kurumada Pro. This is entirely Toei Animation, the way that they handle things.
mhm.
So again, I just want to reemphasize the fact that that there is a project made by people that care about this franchise, that put so much work and effort onto it, and not only that, but that it shows that the people are also interested and want this. I genuinely hope that somebody pays attention. That's all I would like from this entire project to happen. And if not, well, if they can continue to make the project and make something fantastic that we can enjoy as fans, then that is great as well.
That's the only thing we can hope
As,
for at the end of the day.
mhm.
But
A few side notes on it. Just, I mean, for those interested, I'll have to check on this on the full episode. But I remember that the teaser, 5 minute teaser, that one actually had English subtitles as
yeah,
well.
I was about to say I do believe too, because I was looking through it. It does have English subtitles on the actual like full episode as
And this
well.
is also getting a Brazilian dub and a European Spanish dub.
No, that's not bad at all.
Oh, fantastic! Thank you
Yeah,
for
I
providing
saw
that
that.
information.
Yeah, I saw the retweets from hackers. I'm like, wow, that's the level of interest that's in this project, and it just goes to show you. As much as I support the live action, I enjoyed it, but at the end of the day, you know, you have to give the fans what they want, and this is the clear message that says they want animation of this caliber, and
Hmm.
nothing less.
Yeah, and like I said, like even if you can't, like unfortunately, unfortunately, the reality is like you can't get Shingoraki to do. Shingoraki has unfortunately passed away, but if you can get someone of that caliber to work on something like that, something that can get the essence of Saint Seiya and doing that in his style, or at least try to like get something that's reminiscent to it, or something that can emulate that perfectly, then you're taking the right steps for that. Because I do believe that, like I said, like it's a hard thing.
Hey,
It's a very hard thing to like to get a lot of that stuff like emulated, and like some people won't take that challenge, because like a lot of people are like, oh my god, like, I'm stepping on this, like the like that like this that's a great like the master and stuff like that. But at the same time too, I want some. If you want to do something with your own unique spin, do that. But also be a little bit cognitive of like what Araki did in the Legend of the Crimson Youth movie, where it's like it's such a fantastic movie, and like all of his up and like all the episodes he's directed of Saint Seiya, that to the point where it's like you have to take at least some points from him and learn like what made a lot of that stuff work, and use this as a template. And that's what I think Hakuren has been doing perfectly with this. Where it's like they know that I mean, even though they base a lot of their stuff on on his style, they got something that I think a lot of people were missing. That's like kind of like the essence and like the feel of it. And I think that's what's most important when it comes to something like this.
Yeah.
Uh, is there anything else before we move on?
I think that that's practically covers it when it comes to that particular project. If you're interested, please check it out. I highly recommend it, and I hope that they can get enough support to they can start working on they have enough resources to begin working on the second episode.
Yeah. All right. So let's go on to our next bit of news here. Um, let's talk about we talked a little bit about let's talk about Time Odyssey for a little bit here because we did get a lot of news concerning Time Odyssey like literally like the days before we recorded. We kind of already touched upon this already, but like now we have official confirmation that the second volume, the second like tome, if you will, of Seiya Time Odyssey, will be published on September 22nd. I believe what in France first.
Yeah, most likely it'll be like the same as it has been for the volume one. It'll probably be released in France first, maybe Japan as well, and then the rest of the countries as they get the licenses and they do all that stuff, they will probably be getting it slowly.
All right. So that's coming out. So that's coming out, and also too, we got more information on Time Odyssey Volume 1, Issue 3 that's coming out here in the United States as published by Blaze Comics. As per usual, we're getting our Guillermo cover, which is a fantastic cover. But we're also returning from the second issue is Gerald Perel, and joining them is Japanese artist Usen Korin for the third cover as well. So, any thoughts on these covers, Jackie?
I think actually missing those covers for I only saw the ones for the very first volume one of the books.
Really,
So
not even not volume 2, not even issue 2.
no, I missed them. It's actually I need to go. I keep forgetting to look that up. I mean, saw the news, but I did not see the actual art that's gonna be released.
Oh. Yeah,
Yeah, I
because
need to
like
see it.
the second part, I believe the second issue, I believe it has a it's like 2 Iki art, and this
Yeah.
one and the third one is I think like another sale focused art piece. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I just need to, I mean, yeah, like I saw this, but for some reason I did not see the art. So I don't know if I overlooked it because I was just kind of really pushing to actually get the Santa Show Memories Chapter 1 out before we did today's recording.
Okay, the Gerald Perel art is just Iki. It's with Iki with 3 mysterious saints in the back. And then
Okay.
the one by Usin Korin is just Athena with the fake Sagittarius cloth headpiece with Seiya and Zeus in the back as well.
Okay, I definitely missed that.
Okay, and the one for the previous one from the one from the one from last the one with the one from like the one that's gonna come out because this is coming out in October.
Okay. No, I
So
had not seen these at all. Yeah,
okay, so in
I saw the
October.
news, but not the cover.
Okay, so that one's for October. For September issue 2, it's another Gerald Perel cover with it's just the 4 main saints and Athena in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is by Chris Lee, and it's just Iki. It's just Iki. It looks really sick.
I really like the Athena. First, I'm gonna go for that one.
Right.
They're all beautiful, but yeah, I definitely like the Athena one the most.
Yeah, that one's really cool. It's like
Okay, yeah, no, I had not seen this. I don't know how I missed them.
I mean, you were on the show. That's fine. That's fine though. I'm not gonna harp. I'm not gonna harp. But
or if I saw him, I think it just didn't like actually remember them saying.
Also too, it's like we took a longish break, so that kind of makes a lot of sense as well. So it's like that's my bad on my end as well.
No worries, but yeah, okay, thank you. I'm good up now. Good stuff.
But yeah, these arts look really really cool. Like I'm really happy that they're pressing forward a lot of stuff as always. I will say this. I was at Comic-Con. I did get to talk to one of the artists, not one of these artists, but I talked to one of the artists has been doing one of the covers, and they were really excited to talk about it. Unfortunately, because of the line because like he's a well-known artist. The line was just absurdly long, and when I got to him, like, yeah, I only got a few minutes to give him my information, and that's about it. So I didn't want to keep up the line, but he wanted to talk so much about it, and it was so. You can tell there was like a part that was hard. And I was like, oh, thank God someone wants to talk to me that thought something about Marvel and DC. And it's just you can tell like oh my God, I get to finally talk about something I wanted to talk about with this. So you can tell there's a passion from the people working on this that they're really loving the they're really loving what they're working on. Like I said, the first issue is coming out like very soon. As a matter of fact, I think next week the first issue comes out, and it comes out officially in the United States. So English speakers will be able to go to the comic book store and buy it as well. So be on the lookout at your local comic book store for that. And like I said, like Comic Con, like I can go on and on like about how my love for comic books was renewed thanks to Comic Con, because like this year, since less of a focus of Hollywood, it's like, oh my god, like I get to actually enjoy comics. And like there was a few comic books. Like, I think I'm gonna get started reading these comics now. So it's like I wouldn't be surprised if when I go pick up Time Odyssey, I pick up like a few other things as well. I had my eye on, because like, oh yeah, I really want this. Yeah. But any thoughts on this Benjas?
Yep, I'm happy that it's not just like a one thing, because you know how sometimes like oh, for example, oh, the issue one is gonna have a variant cover and that's about it, and the others are just like the official ones, and usually like they don't tend to have them. But I'm okay. I could be wrong. I hope I am not. But it seems that apparently at least they're investing in having each single issue have at least one variant cover, so which that makes me happy. I want to see if all of the issues for Volume One have variant covers, what they are, because so far the art done to them has been just astounding, and I really like it. So it's always good to have these kinds of things. And again, I'm repeating myself from what I've mentioned previously, but I think it's important to be stated. It gives it a unique identity, because as far as I know, none of the other editions published in any other country or language, as far as I know, have any variants. So that gives it a unique trait to the English version.
Yeah, and it's because like it's something that they and the variant and stuff like that. It's just because it's a practice nowadays here in the United States when they really publish a comic book to at least have one or more variants of a book. Like it's totally uncommon. It's totally uncommon at all to like encounter a book there where you just stay with like one cover. I'm always seeing like 15 different covers, especially when it comes to like the big two. When it comes to Marvel and DC, it's like, oh my god, I don't want to choose. Just give me this one and let me just read it. Let me go torture myself for another 35 pages. I don't care I don't care what's on the cover. Just give me the thing and let me read it. So it's good that that a lot of these people that they're taking this effort and actually getting and going out of the way and getting like known artists, to do this and continuing this on, and at least giving like options to to the fans and to like you and to new readers as well. Because I do honestly believe that this is aimed for a new audience that are coming in here. Either they've heard about it from shows like this, I do hope that you're listening and you are one of those people, or they must have seen the movie, or they must have heard it from somebody like someone close to their lives, and that's how they got into it. And it has that kind of appeal where it's like it plays into the sensibilities of the American audience, where it's like it's not really that Japanese anime influence. I mean, yeah, it's Japanese influence, a lot of it. Like it really is like anime influence, a lot of these, but they tend to stay a little bit more grounded with a little bit more of a American comic book style.
It's right in that middle ground that you can tell it's inspired by anime, manga, but it's also takes on the Western comics, which it really makes it a great it can make it a great entry point for anybody that if they get interested in the series overall, they are gonna start looking for more the manga and other things. And maybe they'll open up that whole can of Seiya stuff.
Yeah, we hope so. We sincerely hope so. But yeah, but it's really good. Okay, I think I can say this now. I think now that I'm looking at these, that I put these covers like all together, all three of these covers like, out in front of me, I can see what they're trying to do now. Sorry. They have two types of covers. They have the cover. They have a cover that's appealing more for like a traditional comic book fan, or a fan like someone that's more into like the DC or the Marvel stuff. I doubt it, because this is not something. This is something not really. But it's like they do tend to like go for someone. They do it for people that have worked on that kind of stuff before. and then they go with more a fan artist, someone that's worked online, and then they work with and they put their like kind of like their signature style into it in the more anime style. And of course, you
Yeah,
got
you're right.
you got and then you have the Guillaume Aloquette cover, which is like the catch-all. Like that's the main artist that's doing it as well. So like they're trying to play up all kind of like all three corners of like to the traditional fan, like the traditional comic book fan, like the people that only pick up like mangas, and the super fan of Saint Seiya. So I really appreciate that they have, and like I said, each one of them has their own unique kind of identity because of that, and I really appreciate a lot of that stuff that they're trying to do. And like I said, knowing that a lot of these artists are having like so much fun with knowing that the artists are having so much fun with doing this comic book, or especially the covers at least, is means a lot. So yeah, any final thoughts on this mechas?
No, just excited to see them release. Gladly waiting to see if issue 4 will have it as well, and looking forward to acquiring them.
We already talked about this off stream, off air, but I am your hookup because I know there's gonna be people that are gonna be asking for it, and like I was like, I might as well order some extras while I'm at it because I may have found a place on like the thing is I already made an order for a couple other things like I'll throw in a couple more. What's a couple more extra ones? What's it gonna hurt? Any final thoughts, Jackie?
No, I'm gonna look. Again, I'll be getting the Athena one.
Yeah, don't. I'm getting all of them just for the sake of collection, for collection's sake, because I am a sucker. That's a sad truth about a lot of things. I'm a sucker, and I
Well, I'm sure they appreciate the extra support.
yeah. Let's talk merch for a bit here. Where you want to go? Where you want to go with the merch? You want to talk about toys, acrylics, or you want to talk about alcohol?
Why don't we begin with alcohol and then go to the toys from there?
Yes, I with alcohol.
Okay, let's start with some booze. I had it right here. So Nagahama Distillery will be launching the next Gold State inspired whiskey on later this month, which is going to feature Leo Iodia. If I remember correctly, each of the flavors they had are kind of like they had a unique taste, right?
Yes, I've read the descriptions, like every single one of them, as far as I've been able to tell. They give you like a spiel on like, oh yeah, this particular one has like a flavor of something. I apologize. I'm not an alcohol person. I'm sure that somebody would be able to understand the descriptions much better than I ever could. But basically, yeah, each of them is supposed to be like unique in one way or another, like have a somewhat of a twist to their flavor.
Yeah,
Supposedly.
that's something we theorized when we started hearing about these. So I was like, why? How would you sell 12? How would you sell like 12 different variations other than the label? I'm like, that's actually a good idea. Like, just make each one of them like very unique flavoring. And that way, it's like, this has like a little bit of like apple spice, and it's like a little so that's a little bit like that's a little bit reminiscent of of Ionia. It's like lightning plasma or something like that. It's like just like for acquired taste. But did you have any thoughts on this mechas?
Well, I would be more excited if there were any like easy way to acquire them because I don't particularly care too much about the alcohol. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I would probably drink it, but it's not so much about the alcohol. I would love to have them just have the 12 bottles as a collectible and on display. I'm sure they would look fantastic on display. But when it comes to like foods, beverages, and especially
fucking
alcohol,
hell!
Eh?
I just saw the price. Okay. So apparently the How official website here in the United States to buy them. You want to take one? Well, guess how much?
Wait, what?
You guys want to take a well? You guys want to take a guess?
Yes.
You guys want to take? You guys want
I
to play?
probably won't be able to buy it, knowing me.
No, but let's play a game here.
Sure.
Let's play a game. You guys want to take? You guys want to like? You guys want to ballpark on how much at least the Iodios one is?
What was the original price?
No.
$50?
No, keep going. Like I said, no, I want to say this right now. I won't say what, but like $50 higher.
I put it
$80?
100
Higher.
120?
Higher.
150.
200
Higher.
200
Higher.
What the 250?
Close.
200 and 275.
Lower.
269.
Lower.
Mm,
65 to 65.
$259 for the Iolios one.
oh my god.
Where is
Oh my god.
this?
Jesus, that's like, oh boy, that's an expensive alcohol, I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's great that you have. It's great that you have that you're able to buy it. It says here $3 to $10 worldwide. I believe there's free shipping, but yeah.
You got the link? Now I want to look at this.
Oh yeah. I'll post a link, and I'll also post a link also on our show notes as well. But like I said, like of course, because it's whiskey and stuff like that, it is a higher price. But it's like I was expecting $50 to $60. I was not expecting almost $260 like this.
That is not a price that I would thought I'd have to see plaster on that.
Okay,
Let's see here.
is this a store in the U.S.?
No,
or
this is them directly.
Oh,
This is them directly. This is from the people that distribute it, or at least
Wow.
from at least a distributor of it to.
oh wow,
Okay.
that's
Okay, so the description says here is a Mega Hacken release, a worldwide blend of expression creates a fantastic Naga Ham dysentery from the range of malting grains from Scotland and Japan. This whiskey inside is smooth flavor, packed and moist with citrus notes, poached pears, gentle cinnamon, and a silver oak being the stars of the show. The bottom of the box features famous Japanese manga Saint Seiya on the label, making it stand out to the
that
crowd.
includes the shipping. But you know what? In a way, I mean, I think the price is ridiculous, but I'm not too surprised because importing alcohol. I mean,
Yeah.
goes without saying, that's pretty difficult. That's definitely going to raise the price. I am surprised as it is that this is even available, and also depends. They can only ship to so many places. Like here, in Texas, you can buy alcohol from out of state.
Yeah, you gotta
And they
you gotta
have
go to like New
rules.
Mexico. You gotta do a deal with a guy in New Mexico for that one.
Yeah,
Also,
something like
well, keep going.
no, it's because of the flammability. But
No, not just that.
I mean,
too. It's like,
yeah, it's just I'm surprised all in no because a couple of years you couldn't even think about importing anything. Last year I actually bought one of the Saint Seiya perfumes, and I was really worried if I was even going to be able to ship this because of obviously the flammability. But the seller that I bought it from, of course, I had to pay a premium price, almost twice as much. But I was able to get it shipped to me through FedEx, and it arrived safely. So maybe something changed that they're able to do this now.
Or like, it really depends on like what exactly you're being sent, and or it must be one of the things where like it gets sent one place where they can ship it, and then it gets shipped to you from some place that can be shipped. Like
like it gets shipped to their warehouse or wherever else.
Or like, for example, if you're buying from a seller, like a third party, like okay, you get it sent. Like you said, you live in Texas. Let's say you get one, then like the closest is New Mexico. So like I'm pretty sure, like okay, we'll send it to our guy at New Mexico, and our guy from New Mexico will like we'll send it out to you.
Yeah.
That is a very complicated way of getting some Sensei alcohol.
Yeah, and, like unfortunately, because of circumstances, in real life that I can't drink alcohol, I can't. But I will say, like, if I could, I would just so I can just so I can just have it on my wall, just like, yo, check this stuff out. This is like when we bust up. This is like celebration whiskey right here.
I wouldn't be surprised if some people actually just start selling the empty box.
I wouldn't mind.
That's gonna happen. Trust me, that will happen eventually.
I would actually gladly buy it and like make it like a candle. I would. But like I said, like if you're paying that much for a whiskey, yeah, that thing better be for like one or two things. Either someone's getting burned, or someone died that you really hated.
You're talking to somebody that died, and we're looking at the Iola's bottle. Jeez.
No, but I mean, you really hated this person, so it's like come down to which is dead kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I saw like as in the description I gave out, they did say that they did give like the very specific like taste to the Iolios one. So I'm very sure with this one, it's gonna have a very specific like tastings as well for it to give its own unique flavor. Judging from a lot, judging from it, I think what they were trying to do with the Iolios one is like I think they were trying to give it a little bit more of like it looked like they were trying to give it like a bit like like not a strong aftertaste, but like this like subtle aftertaste that's like kind of like a cinnamony, kind of like that kind of style. So I wouldn't be surprised with this one. Was like we know Iolia, he is very much like a fiery character and a very fiery like personality. I'd be surprised if they go whole ham on like giving you something that's a little bit more that gives you a bit more of a kick.
Well, for any of our listeners, if you are able to afford and get this bottle, cheers to you. Let us know what you thought of.
Also, confirm to us also too if these numbers are correct or not, because like I said like this is the directly from the distributor. I'm pretty sure we can get cheaper. We don't know, but again, we won't know about it. All right, let's talk about toys. If anybody has any final thoughts, no, yes, no, maybe not.
And no, I think just like I don't know, bottoms up.
Yeah, salute.
Salud.
Salud.
Um, if you haven't known by just I don't know I'll skip this bit of news right here because like we at this point everybody's already got the Blu-ray of the movie at this point. I already got the Blu-ray. I'm pretty sure all of us got the Blu-ray I got the Blu-ray and digital because I actually brought the digital beforehand so I can show it to some friends. So
Nice.
and also too I had wait, I didn't tell you this. Did I say this on the show that I actually brought the movie like digital first because like I got like because I think I ordered something and they're like, oh yeah, because like this order, this particular thing is not gonna come out for 2 months, 3 months. So here's like $10 credit. I'm like, yeah, I will take it. So it was like, so I only paid like what, like $5 for the movie. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go.
Nice.
So it's like, yeah, if you haven't picked it up, go pick it up. I was at Walmart. I was right there. Like, I had to take a double take. I was like, oh my god, they still. The first time, my first time my brain is, oh my god, they still sell Blu-rays.
Hallelujah for that.
Also, second of all, they're actually selling DVDs. That's the second that kind of blew my mind. Like, wait a minute, there are people that actually
Now
have. Well, then again, too, like that makes sense because like you can just pop that thing anywhere and just like like that's it. And it was like $5.
Yeah, for mostly for the portable
Yeah.
stuff, even though there are portable Blu-rays, but it's like kind of throwaway if you don't want to take your expensive collector edition
Yeah.
Blu-ray disc. That's what you got.
And second of all, it's also one of those things where like, oh my god, Walmart still sells video cassette like videos, quote unquote, and it's like, you idiot, they always sell that stuff. So that's a Ramses moment right there. Let's talk about toys. We got some more Saint Mythcloth EX stuff. Actually, one more thing, really quick. Yeah, this pertains to the Saint Mythcloth EX. We were supposed to get a big bit of news in July, and I have a theory that maybe because of what's going on in Hollywood right now, they can't talk about it. So that's why they kind of like I don't know what you're talking about. Scoop it under the table. Anyways, that's just Ramses' tinfoil hat moment of the night.
But if whenever we hear something, we always pass on the news to you guys.
Yeah.
And we're on the next episode. Till then.
But till then, let's talk about what has been revealed. The Saint Mythcloth EX Mythcloth EX for the Death Mask Cancers has already been released. We saw pictures of it. It looks really cool. And then later this month, we're also gonna get the final Bronze Cloth EX Cygnus Yoga as well. I think we saw both of those like not too long ago. So, any thoughts on those figures, Benjas?
Yes, I need to buy them before they run out. I need to go. I need to take a trip to Mexico City because I actually want to get Death Mask. Funnily enough, I unfortunately I think that anybody that collects stuff knows the pain of either having to collect things as they go immediately because of the fear of them running out or not being stuck afterwards, then having to deal with the aftermarket. I'm kind of dealing with a little bit of that because unfortunately I got this stick that I want to get all the Mythcloth EX. Well, not all of them. I don't want to get. some of them I don't think I'm gonna get. I'm not probably not gonna get the original color editions for many of the characters, but at least I want the anime versions, right? So I do want to get the 12 gold Saints, like all the Hades ones that have been released, the Poseidon ones, etc. But the problem is that a lot of the original Mythclaw EXs, they've already been out for 10 years. So many of them are not very easy to find, or they're stupidly expensive to get. And I was actually having this problem getting Aldebaran.
Mm-hmm.
I had to like get him in the aftermarket, and it's like it's not new, it's semi-used, but I bought it from a Japanese person, so I'm sure it'll be in mint condition.
Yeah, it's just like I
So
just touched it once, and then it's like no, we gotta lower it to like we gotta lower it the price. We gotta lower the price, and
yeah,
that's the best price. Like when we think used, we think of like someone throwing at the wall and it's enchanted into like 50 different pieces. No, when it says when it says it's like used and they lower the price that much, they just barely touched it.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's how I got like a lot of my figure art. So I was like, oh, this is like I'll go to Manarake
They
and be like,
say it has box damage, and it's like when you get the picture, like, where's the box damage? It takes you an hour to find a tiny little scratch.
yeah,
like
and it's like
either a tiny little scratch or like a couple wrinkles in one of the corners, but that's about it.
yeah, it's like well, fuck it, it's gonna be a slate anyway, so whatever. But
Yeah.
but yeah, keep going.
So you basically like, well, in this case, if they're just coming out and they're being released right now, I personally want to jump onto the opportunity of getting them. So I'm definitely going to be getting that mask. I hope that I can go to Mexico City next week that I can actually get him. As for Hyoga, I'm definitely going to get him as well. I just need to make sure that he's already out. I'm not too worried about him running out too much, because usually they bring like a decent amount of stock for the people that sell them here. So hopefully I'll be able to get it without no problems. And now we would just be missing Iki to complete the 5 Bronze Saints with their final bronze claws from the anime
Mm.
in the EX lineup.
All right. Jackie, you have any thoughts on any of this bit of news?
Be picking up any of these anytime soon. I would like yoga eventually. Um, I just still want June to get re-released.
Mm.
But so far, there's just no indication. I mean, they were holding a poll in the Imaginations website. I can't remember if it ended or not. But they didn't
No,
even have June as an option at all.
no, because I don't think they released her. That's why.
Yeah, but she hasn't been announced, I think, either. So
For not EX, but I do believe because the thing is like they're focusing for like that voting. It's like everything. Most of it's EX except for the stuff like Soul of Gold. That's
Mhm.
still like regular Mythcloth, and I believe June is still a regular Mythcloth. They have not made a Mythcloth EX of her, so there is
No,
hope.
she's
Yeah.
still just yeah, she's just still part of the regular line, not the X ones.
Yeah, and I'm
That
not
goes
willing to
for
pay the
that,
after
that goes
price market.
Yeah, that goes for all the Silver Saints as well. I genuinely hope they release them eventually. I mean, Bandai's gonna have to if they want to continue selling figures, because what else is there for now? Well, there are a couple of things, but we'll see. We'll see.
All right, any final thoughts before we move on?
Nope, good here.
Okay,
Just that my wallet is gonna cry. That's about it.
not all of our wallets always crying.
Yeah.
Especially since like you're talking to a guy who like does like model kit streams now, and it's like oh shit, like I gotta find content. It's not just like buying stuff to like keep myself amused, but like buying content and like.
Do you remember?
Anyways,
Do you remember that meme of the dad entering his kid's room with his belt out, saying it's clovering time? No, Dad, no. I think about it like that, but that's my wallet yelling.
oh yeah. Well, don't
I hear.
let's not talk about let's not disclose how much I spend at Comic Con on just model kits alone. Just let's not do that.
Yes.
This is something that you're really excited for, Jackie, and like, this is all you if you want to take it once I set it up for you. Acrylic stands of all 12 Bronze Saints are gonna be released this October. It's all you.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I definitely get excited when we see other merchandise figures. I did a little bit of digging up on this. So yes, coming October from a company named Impact Japan, they'll be releasing 3 sets of acrylic stands with the gold stains. And acrylic stands is just basically an image of a character printed on acrylic. You could put it up for display. Let me bring up the picture for it.
I got the pictures here,
Uh,
anyways, but that's fine.
Oh, okay, great.
And if anyone wants to see the pictures, I'll post the pictures on our show notes if anybody is interested in.
Yeah. So the thing about this one, what I thought was interesting that when it says that all of them cost it's about 770 yen. So that seemed odd to me because some of these acrylics are pretty big. I forget the measure. It's in centimeters, like 33 centimeters. So I think we're talking maybe close-ish to about 10, 12 inches or so.
Yeah, let's say 30 centimeters. That's like the size of a. That's like the size of like one of the old school GI Joes.
Yeah, so they are pretty big. So here's the thing. This is the way they're gonna release this because they mentioned that they're gonna announce the stores is gonna be available at later today. It's gonna be done in an Anikuji style or otherwise known as an anime lottery style. What you do is you pay whatever that's 770 for a lottery ticket and in theory everybody gets them because it says that a set includes 80 pieces. So there's gonna be someone gonna have like duplicates of the same, and usually the bigger figures there'll be less of them. So for those of you that want to collect this is gonna be a little bit hard to get, to import. But here, especially because there's anything that's anime lotteries, unless you happen to know a shop that actually imports this stuff, it's pretty expensive. These sets as a whole can run you anywhere $400, $600 easy. So, your best for this will be just keep an eye out on any online shops that sell secondhand merchandise or secondhand merchandise. But yeah,
Yeah, like
they'll be
Mandarake.
the best
Again,
way to
speaking
get
of
'em.
Mandarake, Mandarake is like always your best bet for a lot of that stuff that you need. Like, if you always want to pick up like stuff like that, usually they'll sell it like, and they'll usually if you just want to get it and just forget about it.
Mhm.
Mandarake is your best play because like I'm pretty sure like they're gonna blind box it or gonna like blind package it so that you won't know what they'll get. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like they have when you get the whole package, they get like a poster, and the people you buy a ticket and then they pull the number you get, and then it reveals whatever price you get. So Mandarake and Surugaya, just a little bit. So if this comes out in October, either late October or early November, just start looking around those sites, and that's why then people start selling their duplicates. And the good thing on that, probably for import, I think they'll be fairly low price. So just be patient with them. But they look really nice, and they do feature at least what it seems to be like brand new art from the Goldie. So it's not any promo ad that's been used before.
That's good. That's actually really good that they're putting in such effort because like usually when it comes to stuff like that, it's like, oh, we'll just slap the Himeno art or we'll slap the Araki art and just or what's his face I forgot the name of the other artist that does a lot of stuff. He's Italian. I forgot the name of the artist, but his art as well. Like either of those are either
I know who you're talking about. I'm looking at him.
because I know he does. I know he does. Yes.
Yeah,
So
him.
so so it's either gonna be one of those arts, and it's like no, they actually did something where it's like they got some new art, they got some new key art for them. It's like that's actually really good, especially like when it comes to that kind of size stuff. And what's great is that, like you said, like we just said the size of them, they're 30 centimeters. That's actually pretty big. That's a pretty big. That's a pretty big size. Like I'm looking at some of my action figures I have here, like on display, and that's like if I were to like take a guess, like I'm looking at like my big old Optimus Prime here. I think around the size of that Optimus Prime I have up here on display, which is like he's like around like 10, 11 inches. So it's like so that's around that. So it's like you're getting a pretty sizable figure, and if you need something like for example, like we were discussing earlier about like having to put something on display. If you're just gonna have something on display, an cool extent is not a bad thing to have. Like like if I'm just insane obsessed with like toys. I have to have something that's articulated because I like pulling it out and just fooling around with it. But if I'm having something just for like display, an acrylic stand is a pretty good alternative. And that's sort of like the size of like the myth cloth. So you need something to like display like that as like a temporary display before you can get like your myth cloth. That's not a bad alternative in my opinion.
Yeah, this is actually will be the second set of big size acrylics for Saint Seiya because for Shonen Jump Festa they've been releasing the Gold Saint slowly, but yeah, they started doing the big size acrylic too. So I guess this is actually becoming quite a thing. But yeah, now that I'm actually looking at the picture, so the acrylics and there's gonna be they're smaller, like they're about like half size, like chesting up, portrait pictures. Then there's gonna be the mini full body acrylics, and then of course you got the big ones. Oh, and another thing about anime lotteries, if you happen to be the person that buys the very last ticket of that set, you get the so-called last prize, which in this case, and I think this is going to be the end that will become more expensive to buy even secondhand. You get a pretty huge cloth poster that has all of the gold stains together using the same anime art that was used for this acrylic set. So it looks really cool.
Interesting. That is very interesting indeed. Um,
Yes.
right now we're going through some technical difficulties at the present moment, but we'll get back to Benjas in just a moment here. But wait, hold on.
I'm back.
Okay, so
All right.
we
Let
we parlayed enough. But any thoughts on the collect stands on Benjas?
Oh yeah, they look pretty neat, and I was discussing this with Jackie the other day, but I think that the Ioros one is probably the one that stands out the most because it's very rare to see official art of Ioros wearing the cape.
Yeah, that's right. That is something that we saw. Like, oh yeah,
Ben has blew my mind with that trivia because I have the Shonen Jump clear file for him, and I went to look at it. It's like, oh my gosh, this is true. This is so true.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, where did he put those wings then?
I don't know.
yeah,
It's retracted somewhere. I guess they're retractable. I guess. Mm-hmm.
this like cloths are very malleable. Let's just leave it at that.
I know we could come up with all sorts of crazy theories about it, but
At,
hey,
at this point, whatever crazy theory it is, it's bound to be true.
hey, feel free to shoot him at us. If you just leave us a comment, like, what's your theory behind, where those IL stores his wings for the photo shoot?
Well, then again, too, it's like the Pegasus cloth has wings, and we hardly ever see those. I mean, it's used once.
They're actually like you can see in the cloth scheme
Yeah.
how they actually retract onto the back. So
I'm pretty sure there's got to be some sort of diagram that includes that.
yeah.
But hey, if you know that answer, enlighten us.
Yeah, please, like just send a tweet at SC Cosmocast. Again, the tweet at us at SC Cosmocast. But yeah, that looks really cool. Like I said, like it seems to be like new key art. Like Jackie was saying, it looks really awesome. I'm really looking forward to it. Like I said, it's going so far as actually giving completely new art to the point where it's like, yeah, well, Iolios, why does he have where's his wings? But it looks great. I can't wait. I saw the poster. I really want that poster, but like you said, that's gonna be like the super like SSS rank like you'll pull right there, and like yeah, I don't think
Well, we'll have to see how it goes with the price. But if there's a lot of these out, I mean, give it some time. You might actually run for a pretty, decent, reasonable price, And I definitely would say that's going to be a great collector's item.
all right.
Oh, definitely.
All right, so why don't we go on to our final bit of merchandise news here, and why don't we talk about Plush? Fame, the company that made those really cool those really cool plushes a couple months ago for Saint Seiya, well, just the regular cloth 5 main bronze saints are now making are going to start doing some for the gold saints. We're gonna get the first 4 of them are gonna be Mu, Aldebaran, Saga, and Cancer, and Death Mask, and each one will be $35 each American. And the pre-orders start pre-orders start tomorrow as we're recording. and go towards the end of September, and they're expected to be released sometime in January of 2024. Um, Jackie, was that the thing you wanted to talk more about?
I'm over most of what I had in mind, but yeah, you know, we were sitting a year ago hoping that if we at least bought and supported the bronze, maybe there would be enough demand and they would take the chances making plushes of the gold saying here we are a year later and it happened.
Was it a year? Oh my god!
Yes, yeah, so that's why it's just mind blowing that it thankfully the bronze series did well enough that they said, hey, let's go for the gold. Anyway, they all look super cute. Goes without saying it. A lot of my friends are very excited for them. um it is gonna definitely a little bit on the pricier side to import, but keep in mind right now, especially if you're importing from the US, so your currency is in dollars, that it is in our favor. So this otherwise could be running for $50 if we were at somewhere around 100 yen per dollar.
Mm-hmm.
So right, I think if you're interested in this, definitely try to import it now. More than likely this will be available later on, because I think even right now the bronze plushies are still available.
That's good.
Yeah, so there's always a chance, but um shipping, of course, that's gonna depend on you have to use a proxy service, but there's a lot of them other, and this is at least would be something easier to order because especially a lot of this newer proxy services that you literally just give them the link to what you want to buy and they'll give you an estimate. But I think you would be looking around anywhere from 60 to 70 to ship, depending on your location. But it's a really great item. The plushies are, I have yoga. They're just as cuddly as they are postable. So if you're the kind of person that likes to do a lot of pictures, with plushies, just that, yeah, these are great for that. So I highly recommend them.
Becca,
And let one,
one.
sorry, I meant to know one more thing, that they are being released in sets. So I don't know how long the intro is gonna be, but goes with it saying the next set is gonna be Iola, Shaka, Doko, and Milo.
Ooh, pick me up when Toko's available because I want him.
I
He's
don't
my
know,
boy.
might be a month or so. We'll have to see, because the pre-orders for this one end in a month, so I'm guessing sometime after that we'll see the next set.
Mm-hmm. Becca, do you have any thoughts on these plushes?
Yeah, like the bronzes, like they look fantastic. I genuinely wish that I wish that I was rich. Well, don't we all? I wish I could have all of it. Probably not gonna be able to get these, but I hope that the people that end up buying them like thoroughly enjoy them. They look very cute and they look very cool.
Yeah, they're super. You can actually, for people that like to get really crafty with their plushies, make them extra clothes and all that. You can actually take the clothes off this, and
Yeah, I've seen.
and well, it's funny, everybody's been joking about Saga.
Oh no.
His claws, you can. He actually doesn't wear any pants. Oh, but there you go. It's totally worth it if you can even get just one. Go, go for your favorite. I know I'm definitely gonna be getting Cameo.
Yeah, like I said, like for me, it's gonna be Doka when we get to that. But like, we'll cross that bridge when it comes time.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm really happy about how it's just turning out. Like I said, like these things look really cool, and I just hope that like they continue on with like other characters as well. It's interesting that they're actually making them in their cloth forms. They actually have them with their cloth on, as opposed to like the Bronze Saints, which only had them in their civilian uniforms.
Yep.
So it's gonna be interesting, like if like later down the road we might get a reissue of those modified Bronze Saints with their cloths on. And like I might actually buy those.
No, they might go even further to the line. Actually, do the gods too. I mean, hey, I'm open for it, because if this first fight did that good, that means there is high demand for it, and people are willing to get them.
Any final thoughts on this, Jackie?
Nope, I'm good to go.
Mekas, any final thoughts?
Nope. Let's continue.
All right, well, let's go to our final thing. Let's talk about comics for a bit. We touched upon a little bit of it earlier with the time Odyssey stuff. But let's go back a little bit to let's go back to comic books here, and let's talk about First of all, Champion read issue 10 for August which we released in August 19th. To celebrate the 21st anniversary of the magazine, there's gonna be a special Saint Seiya section, which will include a Re-Rise of Poseidon Chapter 5, another episode of special episode G Requiem, another special episode of Lost Canvas, and a special episode another a special chapter of Saint Tia Show, and the next chapter of Darkwing Menkaihen. So, any thoughts on these on any of this stuff, Benkas?
It's gonna be another very packed magazine filled entirely with Saint Seiya content. A couple of issues ago, I don't remember right now on top of my head the number. I actually have it, but anyways, they did that just a little while ago, in which all the spin-offs released like
It was for the movie.
special
Yeah,
chapters. Yeah,
celebrate
yeah,
the
yeah.
movie.
It was to celebrate the movie on April. It was on April.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good to see like the fact that Saint Seiya is a franchise important to this editorial
Mhm.
because it's not just like the one magazine. Like most of the content has been published out in the Champion Red. Next Dimension is published in a weekly Shonen Champion. But like Akita Shoten has a very special place for, well, Sensei has a very special place for Akita Shoten, and I'm really glad to see that they have held in high regard this franchise to be able to get like the special. I mean, it's not just gonna be filled with Sensei content; it's gonna have all other things as well. But specifically related to Sensei, to see all the spin-offs, even the ones that are technically not being published anymore, like have something that's always special.
Yeah, I'm looking through I'm looking through a lot of their stuff here, and they have like currently also to accompany like stuff that's currently being published. They also have a spin-off of Captain Harlock, of Galaxy Express 999, another spin-off of Cyborg 009. So it's not just Saint Seiya, but a lot of a huge chunk of it is like a huge chunk of it will feature a lot of Saint Seiya content, especially this particular issue. But yeah, it shows that Atia Shonen is taking a lot of has a lot of pride in publishing Saint Seiya, and willing to like celebrate their 21st anniversary of publishing the book with filling it to the brim with Saint Seiya. So that's really good that they're doing a lot of that. So they're doing a lot of
Yeah,
that kind of
that's
stuff.
pretty cool. They could have picked any of their other series, but they said no. Let's do all the Saint Seiya mangas.
So, do you have any thoughts on this bit of news on Jackie?
What can I say? I'm looking forward to the Sandy Shell chapter in particular, and the Lost Canvas ones. Especially Lost Canvas is, of course, it's already long concluded. The last new chapter, it was another story about a Fabica.
Uh huh.
So it's kind of like you don't know what to expect. You don't know what to expect with that particular manga. What extra story makes. So I think that's pretty cool. Since the show, I'm pretty sure what the feature character is gonna be, because it's going in the same order as the Senka appear in the original manga. So I'll say so, but you can take a guess at that. And I think I've also already mentioned it somewhere in my tweet. But side note, I also remember that Gamers was gonna sell a special issue that was gonna be more expensive, but it was gonna include an acrylic for Re-Rise of Poseidon.
Ooh.
That is correct. The illustration picked to it's going to portray Thetis, drawn by Sunakan Suda.
Mm. But it's those acrylics again. They're gonna get me one of these
Oh
days.
yeah, it's a special issue. You have to order only from the store. I think you can order it online though. So I have
Yeah,
to
but I
pass
gotta
it
go.
up.
I think I gotta go through like a third party and do it.
Yeah, but yeah. Oh, but other than that, you have to go through Akita Shoten's website, and from there, I think it's still available to order. Now the other thing I'm wondering, I don't know if they're still doing this, but I think they're releasing the digital edition of the magazine simultaneously as the day that it hits the streets.
I believe because like I think I was reading something on that. So I was reading something on that while I was doing a little bit of research that what they're gonna do. I think what they do is like what they do. I think they release it like 3 days before That was
Yeah, it's being released a little bit earlier, the digital version. I remember because I think that's how the people that had been doing the translations for Ray Rice and the other spin-offs. That's how they get them.
Mhm. So I was like, yeah, I think we're good. Like, not by a whole lot, not by a week, but like 3 days before it actually gets published in the magazine. So it's like, I think these get published like every Sunday. So I'm pretty sure this comes out like Friday afternoon. So it's like by Friday.
Oh, okay. But I know digital because digitally I've been buying this through Bookwalker. And if you're familiar with the website Bookwalker Global, you can buy, digital comics in English. But you're also able to buy digital comic magazines from Japan using your same account. You just have to navigate a little bit through the Japanese, but you're able to use your same global account, which is how I've been getting the magazine.
Ooh, okay, all right.
So
Yeah,
at least if you just want to look at the manga, or you want to try and use your phone with Google Translate, feel free to do that. But hey,
man, that's
you'll get your first sneak peek.
this is the first I'm hearing about this, and like this is actually kind of cool. Like, I'm gonna check this out later. Um, I guess this leads into our next bit of news here, our final bit of news here, and
Yes.
that's the
Yes.
I'm seeing Benka salivate at the seams for this one. So
I am.
so it was with all this announcements with the new issue, we're also going to be getting apparently it's supposed to be an illustration of the cover for the book for this month's issue. And it appears to be an illustration by Masami Kurumada. And it shows a Pegasus Saint. We don't know if it's Tenma or it's Seiya or someone else. But it shows 3 temples of Artemis, Apollo, and Zeus. And ladies and gentlemen, we have now entered the mythical like Zeus chapter of we might be entering into the Zeus chapter of Saint Seiya. So Benkas, all you.
Okay. Oh God, like you have no idea how like that image blew everybody's minds. Like it was oh God, how to put it? Have you ever felt like you were kind of like not necessarily numb, but like you're going through your day, like your routine, you're feeling a little bit maybe not maybe not is a little bit stiff, maybe a little bit drowsy perhaps, but then you hear something that just fills you with pure ecstasy and joy, and then you feel
You
the
got that
adrenaline rush.
adrenaline shot.
Yeah, I've been like that ever since Friday when the news dropped. Okay, here's the thing: the news that Masami Kurumada was going to draw a special illustration for the cover of this magazine has been out for quite a while. Like we've known this for quite some time, like a couple months maybe, or a month and a half, something like that. But like nobody thought too much on it. Like we just thought that maybe he's just gonna do a new illustration of Seiya or something, and that's about it, right? But no, we finally have the canonical temples of Apollo and the first approach to fucking Zeus. In over 30 years of waiting, we finally see the light nearing the end of the tunnel.
It's like I like the fact that like they had to write their names on the sides of the mountains. That's the part that always amused me. It's like, okay, so what temple's mine again? Oh yeah, the one that said Zeus.
I mean, yeah, but it had to be done like that because
Yeah.
otherwise, I think people would have just been confused. Because I mean,
True,
that would
true.
have probably gotten people to just like talk, like, "Oh, what is this? What is this?" But to actually have like the confirmation for it. Okay, let's make something very, very clear. It's still not officially 100% confirmed that I'm gonna call it the Zeus chapter for lack of a better term.
Mhm.
It's still not officially confirmed that the Zeus chapter is going to be entering a publication. We don't have a date. We don't have like a written confirmation or something like specifically stating to wait for it to eventually be published. But considering the circumstances, considering all we know, and considering the direction the next dimension has been going in, for those that know how it goes, not going to spoil anything, it is very clear that the story would be like could not just like end like in 8 chapters. So we kind of thought that this was going to happen, and even though it's not like written in stone or like given a specific statement saying this is happening, all the signs appear to point that this is finally going to happen. Like after what the story arc that's going on right now, we're finally going to return to what many people have been waiting for, which is the confrontation with the gods on Olympus. specifically with Zeus and with Apollo.
And it's something that's like going. It goes back to what we were talking about way earlier with the Tenkaihen movie as well, because that was something that they were going to set up for as well from the very beginning. That was the intent of that was the original intent of that movie, to get them to get the Saints to get them to Mount Olympus and have that big fight that has been like that's been said that they wanted to do for like a very long time. So it's great that that's great that we're finally gonna get a lot of that we're gonna finally get to see a lot of that stuff finally pay off. We're gonna see a lot more of the stuff because like there's one thing about Next Dimension that like not irked me, but more like like something that kind of not even rubbed me the wrong way, but it's like it's more like it's something that it's like kind of like known. Like this is all the stuff that they're trading on, all the stuff that they're discussing, and all the stuff that they're doing in this particular in these particular chapters. Other than a few things here and there, it's kind of we already kind of know what's going on, and we kind of know the characters and stuff like that, and there was already kind of a setup. Here we're kind of finally get to like the uncharted territory that I've been promised, that I've been wanting for so long with Saint Seiya, like Next Dimension, which is like them going to the actual kingdom, the Zeus realm, and taking care of business there, and that stuff I'm more heavily interested in with the series. So I cannot wait for them to I cannot wait for that to pop. You have any thoughts, Jackie?
Yeah, actually, I'm glad that the image, the illustration that was released made it very clear that, yeah, what it's supposed to mean. This is Saint Seiya. You're going to see Artemis. I mean, it is literally spelled out. You're going to see Apollo, which I think it only has been mentioned in names so far.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, and of course, excuse me, no, obviously Zeus. Now, from the center show point, excuse me, let me take a quick drink.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to not cough while I'm talking, but I'm just gonna wonder how old is my tie-in with center show. Oh, can we take a little? Give me a break. You cough this out. Clear my throat.
Yeah, go for it. Clear your throat. Take your time. Take your time.
Okay. Okay, I think I can talk now. I don't know why. My voice. Anyways, what I was going to say is that there is a link between Santa Show and Next Dimension. I don't want to really get into spoilers, but other than yes, Artemis and Callisto appeared.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing I've always wondered if there was gonna be any point in time that maybe Kurumada might introduce the Santa directly in his manga, even if it's in a minimal way, just to kind of link the mangas together. So I'm kind of hopeful that because they mentioned Artemis and their specific role that Artemis is carrying out, that if you read this at the show manga, in the very end, she's doing something specific, and it makes me wonder if that event might actually sort of link to this Heavens chapter.
Got it.
So, and honestly, it's just from the center show point, I'm wondering what's going to happen because right now, we have members going on and it's covering each of the center, but I would not be surprised if even Chimaki Sensei maybe at some point drops something with Artemis, because I feel that there's a couple of things that have been left floating in the air. So, anyway, I'm excited. This series, 30 something plus years old, and we're still getting brand new material. So, for as long as they bring it, keep on bringing it.
I can only theorize that that Shimaki and Kuromada have been working together, and they kind of like planned this all out from the very beginning. Like Kuromada seems like the type of person that does to me, Kuromada comes off as the kind of person that kind of like who plans everything out right from the start. So I'm pretty sure like when they did a lot when Shimaki proposed a lot of the ideas for Saint show, I'm pretty sure he's like, can you like add in like this and that so I can like bring them in later and stuff like that. So I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be surprised if like that was something that was like that was planned from the very beginning to like put in Artemis in. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be because like again, knowing how hands on he's been with knowing how hands on he's been with a lot of the people he works with. It doesn't surprise me. Any final thoughts on this Benjas?
Too many. I could spend like 3 hours just talking about this image alone. Okay, I just want to point out a couple of things. Like, okay, first, again, like the excitement that I feel towards this is just like immeasurable. You have no idea just
It's
how
Christmas
much.
for Benghazi.
Yeah, like the high that I got from that is still not gone. I was still high on that. Like finally, like seeing it physically on my eyes just like brings a level of happiness that I cannot imagine. Like I can only imagine how my younger self would feel if he could see what I'm seeing right now. Okay, I think that this might be something worth discussing full on another episode, because this is going to take a very long time before we actually get to see like actually anything solid on it. Because remember how it usually works, like this takes a lot of time to plan and to execute, and for next dimension still has to finish, and probably the events of that is probably going to be setting up this, that is just like this is kind of like a tease,
Yeah,
but
Yeah.
it's still extremely exciting. That's the best way that I can describe it. It's extremely exciting, and I can't wait for it. Although I don't want to mention just a couple of things before like finally finishing. Uh, I do like very much how the temples of each of these three gods is so different from one another. For example, Artemis is more like a palace of sorts. Like
mm-hmm.
it's very tall, but in going like in an upwards direction. Apollo's reminds me a little bit of a cathedral, like a Gothic cathedral mixed in with a Greek temple. And Zeus's is just like pure Greek temple goodness.
Yeah, like it's something more traditional when you think of a temple.
By the way, I don't think that anybody else but me has noticed this, because I haven't seen anybody comment on this. But did you notice that the lightning logo that's on the top of the Temple of Zeus is kind of like it's kind of like the same as the one that Wally West has in the on the Batman the animated series, Superman the animated series, and the Justice League animated series logo that the Flash has?
I don't know.
No, I missed that.
It has that same type of lightning bolt.
Mm. Well, that's always been a
Huh.
traditional. That's always been a traditional. Whenever they draw, that's always been a traditional lightning bolt that they use. So I always,
I know that there are so many ways in which you can do an iconography of a lightning. I understand that, but when I saw that's the first thing that came to my mind.
I don't blame you.
Imagine,
I would have said the same thing too if I was like knowing Greek mythology and stuff like that. Yeah.
but
All
yeah,
right.
let's move on to the next thing before I die from tachycardia.
Okay. So, like I said, we spent a lot of time on YouTube. Like literally, like this was all dumped on us in the last couple of days. So it's so like all this that you're hearing, this was all like within the last couple of days that we all heard this information. So we had no like real topic and stuff like that. So why don't we get on to our episode discussion 77 to 81 of Saint Seiya, the original series. And we were talking about this, and it's just like if you feel more comfortable doing it this way, because of the episode structure, like if you want to like just do like just one large like talk through, and then we have a discussion, you're more than welcome to, because I think like all these 2.5 episodes feel like just one, like these 4 episodes kind of feel like they all kind of connect to each other, which is kind of cool, but at the same time too, when we get to our thoughts, it does create kind of a problem as well. So thank us. Why don't you start us off with an episode like debriefing about what happened?
Alrighty, let's do a summary of the events that transpire in these 4 episodes, and from there we can take it on. Okay, episode 78 begins right after where episode 77 ended off. After defeating Thor, each of these Bronze Saints decides to separate and take different routes to try and find the rest of the God Warriors, because they need to acquire the Odin sapphires that each of them possesses in order to be able to acquire the tool to be able to destroy the. Can you remind me of how you say
Dipple
this in
Hybrid
English?
Ring.
Thank you. The Nibelheim ring. And therefore each of them like goes a separate way. Then we begin the episode and we see that the focus is going to be on Shiryu, who, after having a flashback as to, well, not a flashback, when having like a vision of Shura and the will that he's trying to entrust onto Shiryu of protecting Athena, we get to see how Shiryu was able to survive in the anime the Koryu-ha, or the ultimate dragon. Shura, while when they were going towards the sky, he used he decided to lend Shiryu the Capricorn gold cloth after he passed out, and then he pushed him back onto the atmosphere so that he could fall onto the earth and be saved from the technique that he was executing. Shura sacrificed himself in order to allow Shiryu to live. That's how he was able to return, not unscathed, but how he was able to survive the technique and his encounter with Shura. Then, just as he's reminiscing that, he starts to be attacked by wolves, by a pack of wild wolves that immediately becomes apparent they're being commanded by somebody. That's when we are introduced to the next god warrior, which is Fenrir. Like the wolves start attacking Shiryu. He fends them off, and then he begins a fight against Fenrir. A fight that, for the most part, goes very much one-sided, with Fenrir easily dominating and constantly damaging Shiryu. He at one point damages his eyesight by making him bleed onto his eyes. He continuously attacks him in an unrelentless manner, and Shiryu's attacks simply do nothing to Fenrir. This gets to a point in which Shiryu, trying to, I don't know. Okay, we'll get into this when we discuss the episode. But Shiryu tries to try to reason with Fenrir and to try to see the mission that they're on. Fenrir, who then begins to reveal his past and shares why he does not have any trust or cares for human beings and only cares about his wolves. We get to see his past, in which he, as a child, allegedly the son of a, not allegedly, I think they specified it. He was the son of a very wealthy family in Asgard, the Ariotos, and they unfortunately, one day when they were galloping on the woods, they were attacked by a bear, and his parents were killed by this bear, and the people that were with them simply abandoned him to his fate. The pack of wolves that he currently controls actually came to his aid and rescued him. That made him become like part of the main of the wolves, and he became like, I was gonna say he became one with them. Well, you get what I mean. Like, and then one day
part of the pack.
yeah. He became part of. Thank you. He became part of the pack. That's actually the word I was thinking of. That. And afterwards, he was granted the god robe by
Hello.
oh god, thank you. My mind is just jumping around. By Hilda, and since the wolves kind of like submitted to Hilda, then he decided to do so as well, more out of like the immense power that she currently wields, to the point in which Fenrir thinks of her as a goddess. This leads Shiryu to get angry about Fenrir not liking friendship. That's the way I can describe it. And after another confrontation in which Shiryu again is pummeled down, he once again rises, gives a final attack in which he causes an avalanche that kills Fenrir. Like just before he is able to launch his attack, we see. Sorry, I forgot to mention. Just before Shiryu launches his final attack against Fenrir, we do get to see that Hyoga is encountered by another god warrior, and they begin like a confrontation. After Shiryu is left on, like Fenrir passes away, and Shiryu is able to acquire the Odin Sapphire from him, but he passes out in the snow, and for the moment he's left unconscious, like just out there in the snow. Meanwhile, Hyoga begins his confrontation with Hagen of Merak, who is a very, very hot-blooded individual, and they begin a confrontation that is actually quite. They're kind of like very leveled. Like their attacks kind of like bounce off one another, like not one having the upper hand in the beginning. Then we're finally revealed. Remember, because remember that when we began I think it was the second episode of this saga, Hyoga was running away with a girl
With Freya.
who is
Freya?
later with Frey with who is later revealed to be Freya, Hilda's sister, but we don't know how he got there. Here, Hyoga reveals that he went to investigate what was going on Asgard. He allowed himself to be captured, but then got to be tortured repeatedly by the god warriors, specifically Thor. And then Hilda, is knowing that he was a saint of Athena, came because she wanted to seek the aid of them in order to be able to help Hilda return to her former self. That's how Hyoga was able to be freed, and that's how he ran away from the Valhalla palace with her. This infuriates Hagen, who reveals in a brief flashback that when he was a child, he kind of like became acclimated with both of them, and he became kind of like with the intention of being a protector for both of them, and that's how he become in Rebel in all this mess. He's kind of like the knight in shining armor of both of them, but he clearly has a fondness or a very deep friendship with Freya.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that Freya kind of betrayed Hilda in that regard angers him to the point in which he begins a very intense fight with Hyoga. He leads him onto a cave that is filled with magma, the only hot place in Asgard, where Hyoga is finally starting to be suffering from the attacks of Hagen, and he's left unconscious at the end of the episode.
So yeah, all this happens. So first things first, I like the fact that this all plays out kind of like simultaneously. Like literally like one of the things that I do appreciate is like even though that the fight between Fenrir and Shiryu was kind of like drawn out for a little too long than it should. But surprise, that's sort of like the tale of this particular chapter. It's like I think they prolonged too much of that chapter for its own good. But I do find interesting is because they know they're on a time limit and they have to like do everything before sundown. Now you get the sense of like, oh, what's going on over here? Oh, that's what's going on over here. So you got a clear idea as to like what the time frame, what's going on in the meanwhile with the other characters. So there's one thing one of the few things that did right. It's that this was so let me address something on episode 77, and I was talking to you guys off stream about this. When Shuri was having visions of Shura, it took 5 minutes of that episode. Now I calculated without the intro and the outro, you have 21 minutes to do. You have 21 minutes of screen time to do whatever you need to do in that episode. So think about it for a minute. 5 minutes of almost a 20-minute or 21 episode, a 21-minute episode. You spent almost a quarter of that episode just having a flashback, which is, I mean, it's understandable because like we discussed before, like because like they want people to be reminded, and it's usually because they'll do it to make a prominent point, but not take a quarter of your episode up, which means it's like they must have been strapped for time for that episode. One of the things another funny thing that struck me about that episode is that like they cut to Siegfried and Mimit. Not Mimit. Who's the other guy? Alveric. And they're in Hilda's like little like room, and she already has like all the evil core already set up, and I'm like, did you guys just have this here? Like, I'm sorry for pointing it out. That was the first thing I'm like, you just had like. Yeah, did you go to like IKEA and just order like I know you didn't go to IKEA and just ordered all the evil stuff there because I'm pretty sure it takes like 2 to 3 weeks. But no, I mean like she already had like she had a throne with like skulls on it. I'm like, do you have these like already like set up already like in the back somewhere? Like yeah. Like, I feel evil today. Why don't you put the throne with skulls there? Oh. Also, another thing, another stupid observation from my end is at first when the wolves started attacking Shiryu, it looks like they were just nibbling on him.
Yeah.
I just said like, oh my god, they're nibbling Shiryu to death.
Chomp, 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 chomp.
More like nom, 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 nom. Not that like literally they're just like doing like dental like God, that's what like dog does when he wants me to give him food, not like when I'm like being viciously attacked. Like that, I like I'm sorry, but I guess yeah, at the animation, I'm supposed to have some sort of suspension of disbelief and stuff like that, but at the same time too, it's just like I'm pretty sure we were not supposed to make that much because it was done on a CRT. Like we weren't supposed to be that deep into it, but I'm pretty sure like thanks to it being HD, fight like oh. And then like okay, this is pertaining to the dub. This is Fenrir says to Shiryu, it's like you look like a chicken with eggshells on their asses. I had to stop everything. I had to stop everything for a moment. Like, who came up with this? Props to like the voice actors who had to say that with a straight face. But like when I heard that, I had to stop. That's my oh my god, I had to stop everything moment. Like usually when it's been a while since we hit like a oh my god, what is this line from the dub? But that was it right there. Like oh my god. And again, I love the new dub. I love the death. You know, and everyone should support it. But when you got stuff like that, you have to stay. Like that's literally like that's the thing where it's like you have to stop for a moment and just think to yourself like, yeah. But so far that's my thoughts on things so far. We'll get to more things as we go on. But I want to volley it to Jackie. Jackie, what do you got? What do you got to think about this episode?
I mean,
Or like or any of the episodes in general.
Well, I feel like all these 4 episodes are just really almost strung together into one.
Mm-hmm.
Like and it just keeps using this formula. Okay, we're almost done with this fight, but we're gonna go ahead and start the next one in between. Like you said, it feels like a lot of these fights, like Shear's fight, I feel like it gets dragged on unnecessarily too. Because we go into the friendship speech and all that, but it's Saint Seiya. It's a filler arc.
Mm-hmm.
Can't expect anything that. And yeah, what they replay the scene with Shura, sacrificing himself and pushing Shiryu back to Earth at least 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
It's like we get it. It's a filler, but how much do you have to keep repeating the same scene?
Yeah.
Oh, Shiryu's eyes got hurt again because they had.
Oh, I wrote down here. I wrote down Shiryu. For God's sakes, you're blind for like a good portion of the series. You should be able to know how to handle this.
It's just like the series trying to poke fun of itself because
I know it's like it's self-aware. Keep going.
What is that? No, I think pretty much Beckett went over that. Next episode, the next episode continues. Fenrir reveals his past and why he didn't trust humans.
Yeah, and that's what it is.
I really don't have much to say. Okay, I guess since I'm a hero fan, I will say that to me, that whole from how do you say his name? Is it Hagen? Hagen. Yeah. I swear to God, if I didn't know any better, I would felt like he and you are having a fight over a girl, at least in his head, because the way he's just
that's how I interpreted
angry. How dare you take Miss Freya and corrupt her? And I'm like, God.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's like, Hyoga, do you see what you're doing? No, probably not.
No, he doesn't. Knowing the character, knowing how the character's been for like the last 80 episodes ish. Yeah, no, he starts off where he's like, I am a jerk. What can I say?
Yeah.
But
He's but Hagen is just jealous. I think he's more jealous than
that's
what
all. You
actually.
know what the funny part is? I always interpreted it maybe because it's like me watching it again. I must have read it wrong. But I always thought, and maybe Becca can correct me on this. I always thought that Hagen was in love with Freya, and he was jealous of that he was intruding on his space.
You're not wrong on that. Here's the thing. It was never, and it has never been like explicitly stated that he's genuinely in love with her. But it is extremely implied that that's
Oh
the
yeah.
case.
Oh God, yes, that's
I
why.
mean, that's what I felt. Just like you see it.
And it's one of those things that has never like been like proven wrong, or like any person involved in the project said like, no, that's not true. So as far as I'm concerned, that's the way that it is until proven otherwise.
And then we're running with it that he's just a really jilted lover.
Gen.
Yeah, and those the images to help it. Like there's one scene. I think they're already at the cave that it's that Hyoga and Hagen are having their thoughts, and then you see the image of Freya, her face in the middle. Like I'm like, oh god. I thought as a teen that sounded pretty cheesy. Now I think an adult even worse. I'm like, oh my god. Like
You know what just
why?
came to my mind?
What?
Why?
Sorry to interrupt. It's just like I was thinking of. Have you seen like that meme of like the guy that's like crying but with a rage face, and he's like,
Oh,
and then the Giga chat next to him like with something.
Yeah.
You've seen that meme? Imagine,
This-
imagine the one that being like that being Hagen, and on the other side the chat being Hyoga.
yeah,
So you're
she's a
saying
distracted girlfriend in this case. So right. You're so right, Benjas.
like you're talking my girlfriend. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, somebody has to do that now.
Oh my God.
Have to make that. Yeah.
You know what? I
I'm
know what I'm doing. I know
sorry.
what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing after the show. Like my post show thing. I know what I'm doing post show. Thank you so much, guys. But I will say this. It's like when like going back with Fenrir and how his family like got killed. Like I was like I wrote down here. Fuck, they got super dead. Like not just dead, but they're super dead. So yeah, like that.
Yeah. Super dead.
But also too like the way the resolution of that fight was the most fucked up way getting killed in that series. Like in my opinion. Like getting buried in ice like that. It's like that is not cool at all in my opinion. But then again too, it's like well when desperation calls, you need to do something about that. So, but I mean for the most part, I mean I mean the fight went pretty much as expected. Is there anything else, Jackie, that you want to bring up?
Just FYI, I'm probably gonna be griping more about the next one or two episodes since that Hyoga fight.
All right, Mecha, do you have any thoughts so
Yeah,
far?
I actually have quite a few. I'm actually glad that you guys went first and that I'm not alone. Like, here's the thing: the Asgard saga is very divisive. There are people that love it to death. There are people that hate it to death. I'm more in the middle. Like, I don't particularly like it, but I don't hate it either because it has really good things, but at the same time, it also has really, really bad things. And like they're kind of like sparkle sporadically between these episodes. I think that it's safe to say that we all agree that this like the fight with Fern was extremely tedious. Like it just dragged on for like too long. It should have been just like a 2 episode fight, and it got dragged into 2.5, almost two.
I got a
two and
confession. I got a
yeah.
confession. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is another one of Ramses has no concept of time issues. When I was growing up, I thought that fight was like five episodes long.
It feels 5 episodes long.
It really does.
There, keep going.
Yeah, no, it like that's the thing. Like the fight itself wasn't well. I I, I don't want to be mean because like it has good parts, but the fight has so many wrong aspects to it. It drags way too long. Shiryu is just a fucking punching bag like the entire fight until the very end. And in the end, he doesn't even like really win against Fenrir. He causes a natural disaster that Fenrir is too stupid to be able to get away from, and that's what ends up killing him. Like
Yeah.
the resolution is pretty bad. Like this is probably the only. I can't remember any other fight in Saint Seiya in general that literally the way that they won was through nature. It's like
So,
oh,
so, so, so now I'm trying I'm rattling my brain here. I'm trying to remember like some of like the fights between like those like lesser like one off like.
oh yeah.
But I don't think so either. I think they pretty much got punched to death and that's about it. But
Yeah, but the point is like you usually see that the defeat of the enemy is directly a result of like the one fighting, right? Like
Yeah.
it's usually like the victory for the thing. This doesn't feel like a victory for Shiro. It feels like he got fucking lucky. Because none of his attacks made anything to Fenrir. He didn't even scratch his god rove. So like it felt like Shiryu was just too underpowered for this fight. He felt very incompetent the entire fight. Like I know that the whole shtick with Fenrir and trying to relate it to Norse mythology with the wolves thing, it's supposed to be that. But are you trying to tell me that somebody that has been able to touch the seventh sense and at the very least at base level a bronze saint that can move at the speed of sound would have difficulty fighting some wolves? Not Cosmo-induced wolves, just some wolves.
just
Really?
regular ass wolves.
Exactly, regular ass
Unfortunately, with
wolves.
Asgard, this is going to be an ongoing issue. We all know that. that it's. I mean, that's why I said I'm going to be griping about that fight with Hagen and Yoga because I keep I a lot of the times I've said yeah, what happened? Did the fight with did the 12 temples even happen? Like, what's going on?
That's something we'll get to on the next episode we're
For
recording.
sure, but
Yeah.
it's something that unfortunately we're gonna keep touching up during the whole Asgard.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
relating it to this batch of episodes, like you
Yeah.
can see like that thread. Like on so far, we've seen this with the
Mhm.
Thor fight, in which it also felt like it dragged way too long and it was very repetitive. The fight with Fenrir was extremely repetitive because the few good things that it had, kind of like they could have done it like once and then moved on with it. And some of the ideas were not bad, but the execution was not good either. For example, if Shiryu was like he hadn't like he was attacked by the wolves, but he easily eluded all of them because he was trying not to hurt them on purpose because he's not an asshole. I mean, he doesn't attack animals just because until like but if he could have avoided all of their attacks to show his power but also show that he's already being attacked by something that has related to do with wolves, that would have been a better way to execute that same idea that was on the show, but on a more grounded level and more logical to the show that we are seeing and to the level where the characters are supposed to be right now. But they
Mhm.
weren't.
And I
They-
wrote down here. It's like as I'm looking through my notes here, and I wrote down here. It's a pretty straightforward fight so far, but the staff seem to want to torture Studio and say the same with gimping Shun. But it does feel that way. Where it's just like they feel like they feel like there's like this. I feel like the staff has like some sort of like they feel like they have to like they have to hit like some high notes, and they feel like making Shun look weaker and torturing Shido seems to be on high in their list because that's what they always seem to do in these filler arcs. And I don't know, you could do more, but it's like this is like very evident that the staff is like not on autopilot, but they're like you can tell a lot of their intentions.
Exactly, and like they kind of have like a mindset of how things are. Like here's the thing: unless they're adapting something directly from the manga, like the way that they handle their original stuff, you can see like a pattern that's very repetitive. You just need to change the name of the enemy, and usually it's like you see very similar things. But and that unfortunately shows in here as well. Also, another thing that really annoyed me was the whole Shura thing. As you guys mentioned, like it got repeated like 3 times, more or less.
3 times,
The
and like I
whole
said, it took up a quarter of the episode.
And the worst part of it all is like the way that it begins, it's extremely stupid. Like Shiri is running around and he's like all of a sudden he's like, Shura! He hears his voice and like and Shura just goes, Shiryu, I'm counting on you, protect Athena. And then he has the flashback, he's like, why? Why now? Why all of a sudden? I know why, but this is why I'm gonna return to this in a moment. The reason why they had to show that here, I mentioned this I think when we were talking about the difference between the anime fight with Saga and
Uh-huh.
the manga one.
Mhm.
In the manga, we actually get to see Shiryu returning back to Earth or falling back down to the Capricorn Temple,
Yeah.
and he actually Iki actually witnesses the event, and that's how like we actually see how Shiryu fucking survived that, and even though he's left kind of like dying there, like we see how he returned, like so that's shown in the manga there, but the anime completely skipped that, and he just simply lying there for no fucking reason, right? So they
Yeah.
had to explain how he returned, how he survived. Okay, this is the way that they decided to do it. The problem is that the way that it is shown in the episode is that he's going through the Asgard the wilderness, out of fucking nowhere has a flashback, and then he gets attacked by Fenrir. And the infuriating part is that after he gets attacked by Fenrir and he starts to lose, he has the not the flashback entirely, but he has like the whole Shura he, gave me his will to protect Athena thing again. So why not leave the first one out and just put it here, because in the second part it would have made sense. It's like I cannot die here because Shura entrusted me his will. Narratively, it would make sense, but they put it in a part where it makes no fucking sense, and they repeated it so many times that it becomes annoying. That those are the writing aspects that gripe me so much about the how Toei usually writes their episodes.
I think like I think what must have happened, and this is me just taking a shot in the dark. I'm not part of any. I'm not part of like any staff on any animation or anything like that. But if I were to take a stab as to what happened, I think Your Way was on the first, and then they saw how much time it would take to animate some new things. They're like, oh shit, we need to kill more time for recycled animation, and they decided to put they decided to dump more stuff into like flashbacks. Because it seemed like why else would you do the same thing twice? I'm pretty sure it was either scripted or it was storyboarded to be just done around the time you said it was, or and pretty sure like too. I was like they must have saw what happened. They must have saw like the budget, or they saw like how much time they had left to get the animation. They're like, fuck it, we gotta double up on we gotta double up on the animation to like flashbacks just to pad out time. And so that's my theory. That's my theory as to like what must have happened. Like, I have like because I know from people that have worked on animation before. I've known a lot of them that have done like, oh, when I was doing this, I was working on an XYZ show. I wanted to do XYZ, but unfortunately, because of that, because of time, and because like we had to, and because of like different things, we had to resort to doing different things. So we had to like repeat the same animations a couple of times over. And it's like, okay, that makes perfect sense. So I'm sure that was must have what happened. Again, not defending what I'm not defending what they're doing. I'm just saying, like, that must have been what must have happened at the time when they were producing the episode.
I agree because I know that especially back then, like making animation is nothing easy. Like it's a very difficult process to do, and I know I understand that, and I know not just in Seiya, but most of the series back then like reused animation so much, and they had to like use those types of tricks for the padding to be able to feel like an entire
I mean, we
episode.
saw. I mean, it was evident whenever we see the CGI show, and they had to repeat the same freaking animation of them using their attacks over and over and over again.
Yeah,
So it's like
yeah,
it's so prevalent to this day. But when it comes to stuff like when it comes to like story specific things like this, like I'm very sure that must have been like the mentality at like in the writing, like, in like the production, where they're like, okay, we want to do this, we want to have a little bit more of a fleshed out thing, but I'm also very sure too that must have been also one of the reasons why they're like why a lot of these things feel prolonged, because like, okay, we want to do this, but one, Kuroma is still working on the Poseidon arc, and two, we have to make a certain amount of episodes. You got to make a certain amount of episodes for each season. So I'm pretty sure what's gonna happen too is like the reason why like a lot of this feels kind of like drawn out is because they're like, damn it, we have to prolong this to make our episode like allowment. And yeah, so I think that's another reason why it must have suffered. It's like this is this is not something this is totally uncommon. This is not totally like this is not a this is not unheard of. I remember specifically another the Voltron legendary defenders. they went through the same thing. Was like, well, they could have ended the story way before all the mess, but they kind of dug themselves to a hole because they kind of got already committed to 100 episodes. So it's like, oh well, you're here. You already have a story here. You gotta make more. Like, so I'm pretty sure that's where they are. That's why there was so much padding with a lot of it because they're like, okay, we not only have to make we have to make obligations for how many episodes. Like, fuck it, we have to like prolong this as much as we can. Any other thoughts? I guess on my end, like you guys, y'all kind of hit like a lot of the things right here, and I said a few of my like my little quips here, but there really isn't much for me to like give little quips or anything like that. For the most part, like I said, I guess the only other thing is like at one point like during the fight during the fight, I think Shiryu thinks he must have defeated Fenrir, yeah. He must have defeated him or something. Because, like, at one point, one of the dogs just jumps right at his face. Like, yee! I just wrote down, like, that wolf leaping at Shiryu is the most funniest thing ever. I started laughing for, like, 5 minutes straight.
I get what you mean. I think that the how to put it, like, the weakness of the Fenrir fight is that, okay, animation is a tricky thing to do. But the place where I think it's valid to point it out, the deficiencies of it, is when you as a viewer are taken out of the events going on whatever you may be watching. If you're taken out of that and you start to see like the flaws or like the things that cover or that particular media that you're watching, then that's when like that's a problem because theoretically you should be paying attention or you should be like no, what's the word, like you should be like invested in what you're watching without being taken aback by some of the things happening and without like making you think too much about what's going on outside of the events of the show itself. And that's the problem with the Fenrir fight. Like it takes you out of it way too much and way too often. It's for those things to become very apparent, and that's kind of like the downside of the fight with Fenrir, because it's unfortunate because it does have like good elements. I think that if it had been either a shorter fight or had been executed differently, and it wasn't as, because it also visually was very very dull, like very, I don't know, like there's something about how the visuals of this fight were done that just it didn't grab me. Like probably the first time that I watched it did, but like rewatching it now it felt tedious to watch. And that's a shame because actually Fenrir's pass is probably the best part of the whole fight, of the way, because of the way that it was done. You actually feel for the guy. You kind of like, even though he doesn't really change, you empathize with him.
Yeah.
Or well, I know that that's the reason. Like that's one of the things that I don't like too much about Asgard. Like most of them like have this stupidly tragic past that sometimes it feels like emotional manipulation being very very blunt. But regardless of that. The Fenrir's one is done very well. Like you generally get to understand this character with just a couple scenes, and I think it's a shame. Like he's a good character, but he was not executed well with the overall fight with Shiryu. That's the problem, and it also makes Shiryu look like a complete moron on this. So
yeah.
Because that makes it 2 for 2 now. Like both first Seiya was a punching bag, now Shiryu was an extreme punching bag. Like that feels like really. I know that we need to create tension and we need to create like objectives for the protagonist to overcome. But like there are ways to execute this. Like there are better ways that this could have been executed. That's the point.
Yeah.
Maybe it just worked for the times back then, or also because there wasn't an expectancy to rewatch this too many times, like the way we do now.
Yeah, but that's like the thing. I haven't watched the Asgard saga in years. Like I've rewatched many times the basically the 12 temples and the original arc and Poseidon so many times, but I always skipped Asgard. Like it's been at least more than 7 years since the last time that I watched it. So I shouldn't have to feel like this if such a long time has passed.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
No, I think you're right.
Not just that. Not just that too. I think I don't know. But like, again, this goes back to something I think I mentioned like way before, which is like we're not supposed to see these. We're not supposed to see these in such a consecutive order. I think we were supposed to see if we watched these like spread out week by week. I think we would have been a little bit more forgiving. I guess that's why at first we were more forgiving to certain aspects, and now
I think
what's up?
sorry, I was just gonna say I think you're right because it's one thing to look this like back on back, but if you had to wait like an entire week for the next development to happen, it would probably leave you with more of an anticipation of like how is this gonna how's the resolution of this gonna happen? Like yeah,
And
that
not
it
just
works better in that
and
way.
not just that, but like for example, how long was it since we saw the end of well, actually, I know we all know the answer. From like between like it would have been it would have been like it would have been 8 9 weeks 10 maybe 11 weeks since we last saw Shiryu and no, it would have technically if we were to take the series by like, at face value 14 not face value if we were to like watch it week by week it would have been 14 weeks back that we last saw Shiryu with Shura, so like so like making sure you remember that what it is important at the time if you're watching week by week, so like technically you would have spent like a couple of months without knowing what you guys spend a couple of weeks without knowing what you being in the dark about what was going on. So like yeah, I guess like that when you start watching it like that, I think it becomes a little bit more. It becomes a little it becomes like the impact of it becomes lessened. But since we're watching these kind of like consecutively, we get to see a little bit more of the scenes kind of like fall apart as they're coming through. And again, like I think as Jackie said, and like what we mentioned before in the show before, like we weren't like video cassettes and stuff like that were not a prevalent thing, and we weren't supposed to be watching these over and over again as well. And then that's when you start to like point out stuff like that as well. So. Oh well, that's unfortunate. That's like the unfortunate side effect sometimes when it comes to like when it comes to like these older series and stuff like that. Is there anything else? Because like the thing is, I'm starting to notice something with this too. It's like there isn't really much we can talk about with Hagen and Hyoga right now because literally we just got started with the fight and like we won, and literally the fight just started and we just ended with him just collapsing in a volcano. So we have no real like thing to like put ourselves through. So it's like if anybody has any thoughts so far to that fight other than the what we discussed earlier,
I actually do.
go for it.
I actually was very thankful for the Hagen part because that finally kind of like woke me up when I was because I watched all of the episodes like in succession. So I watched one after another after another. I was kind of like just like staring at the fucking screen, like kind of somewhat drifting out, watching the whole Fender thing. And finally, when we got to Hagen, at the very least, the action, the visuals, and the dynamic between Hagen and Hyoga is very like it's very funny because I think that they complement each other, not complement. They bounce each other, bounce off from each other very well. Hagen is very cocky and very arrogant. Hyoga is more reserved and more cold.
Yeah.
Hagen has a fiery temperament, while Hyoga is more cooler temperament. So and then we get to see like this dynamic of literally fire against ice. I actually was very excited to see the beginning of the fight. I thought it was a very good part, and because it was done at a higher pace, because it was just like the last 15 or 10 minutes from the last episode we saw. I thought that it was much more dynamic than the entire Fenrir scene. So I actually really enjoyed the first part of that fight, and I know why. I know why Jackie's gonna is gonna have her gripe with the next episodes. That's gonna be a very fun thing to discuss, especially with the Spanish stuff. But we'll get to that eventually. But I did like the introduction of Hagen, and I actually did like the character of Hagen much more.
Yeah.
So those are my thoughts on that.
I thought it was fine for the most part. Like I said, like it's good that it's good that we got to see all this and like because of how like rapid everything was, they didn't really it didn't really feel like they were it didn't really feel like they were it didn't warm its welcome like the Fenrir fight. I guess that's like right now it's like that's like the worst offender of them taking their sweet time and doing nothing is with that Fenrir fight. But I give my thoughts on I give my thoughts a little bit more in depth like later on. But Jackie, do you have any other thoughts on the Hagen at this point? Because I know you have thoughts. I'm pretty sure, and you know when we get to it, I think I'll definitely put you on
Yeah,
first
I
because like
think No, I really have to say, it's just the introduction. I think the pacing is fine for the introduction of the fight, but the
Yeah, and I like that. I like that also too. Like they got all the stuff that will bog down. They got all the stuff that will bog down other episodes right out the gate. Like they got those done.
Yeah, I mean they got the background and all that in one, so they actually, I mean, for that part it's balanced, like the Fenrir fight. But yeah, it, we'll get to it next podcast.
All right. If anybody else has any other thoughts, speak your piece now or forever hold your peace.
I have a couple things to add. They're not thoughts. They're more like trivia aspects to.
Okay, go for the
to
trivia.
this. Okay.
One last
One
thing.
is related to.
Hold on. One last thing.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Last episode was not an Iraqi episode, but this episode with Hagen was, right?
I don't think that it was because I think that Araki only directed like the first couple episodes, and then he didn't direct any of the others.
All right, then okay, move on.
Okay. Okay. The first one is that out of Fenrir's parents, only the mom has a name.
Oh.
His dad doesn't have a name. He's just credited as Fenrir's dad.
Oh.
That's
That's sad.
His mom is called Ingrid, but
yeah, because he said Ingrid.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
yeah,
everybody,
but
and then the freeloaders are just freeloaders, and then that's it.
Yeah, like asshole freeloaders that abandoned the child to die.
Yeah. But
oh, fucking assholes. Okay, that's the first. I think that's the only piece of. Oh, another one. Did you know that Hagen's design is actually recycled? It was in a way. The Hagen design. Do you remember when we watched the second movie?
Yes.
The one that also takes place in Asgard.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Hyoga is replacing, even though we don't actually get to see it in the movie, in the behind the scenes it was revealed that there was supposed to be another oh god, I don't remember the name of the god warrior that Hyoga was playing in that movie, but basically there was another character supposed to be that god warrior, and that design was the first one that was made, the one from Hagen. Like that golden prince hair, prince cut that he has. It was done for that movie, but because it could not be used in the final product, apparently Michi Himeno has a very strong attachment to that design, so they rescued it and they gave it to Hagen, so they were able to use it in the series for him. And eventually that design would get reutilized once again for one of the angels on the Tenkaichen Overture.
Yes, I remember seeing that in that movie. But yeah, it all goes back to that. Yeah. That's really interesting. Like, and that doesn't shock me as well that they recycle the same design for the different things, because that's just the nature of animation sometimes. Like they're like, this design's so cool that I'm gonna keep at it until it works. So props to them for it. All right.
Oh, I remember. It was Midgard, the one that.
Okay, Midgard. Okay.
So yeah, the original Midgard was supposed to have a Hagen's design, and they got recycled. Okay, that's it for the trivia of the episodes themselves, and this is more of an amusing thing for the Latin American Spanish stuff.
Okay, go for it.
It's well known that the Latin American Spanish stuff has its infamous mistranslations and its infamous bad lines, right? But I think that Asgard is probably the saga that has like the most outrageous ones.
Oh,
maybe. Because yeah, I don't know why, but like they got so many things wrong. You know what they call the Valhalla Palace?
Uh-oh, hit me.
They call it El Palacio Guarujara. The Guarujara Palace.
I remember that.
I think I know what's gonna happen. I know exactly what's gonna happen. They must saw the hiragana, and he just went. They said the word phonetically as it would appear in hiragana, instead of trying to instead of trying to consult like a Norse mythology book.
Yeah, I think there is a video that explains a lot of the goofs on the this the Latin
Dub.
American dub.
I mean,
Yeah,
we
and
love it.
then
I mean, don't get me
I
wrong.
completely because like for the longest I didn't understand where the whole Jumini came from. Then I was like, oh my gosh, when he said I remember them, I was like,
Yeah, again, I'm so under the impression that like someone it was like that was like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They had to get the final lines in. They've been in that booth for like 10 hours. Screw it. We'll just leave that in with no other retakes. But no,
Yeah,
yeah. So I'm pretty sure that's what must have happened. So I think that like there is a logical explanation to that issue, which is they must have saw like they must when they were doing the translation they must have not consulted a Norse mythology book, and they just went with whatever was reading Hiragana. Like, okay,
the katakana, you mean? Yeah,
yeah,
because I don't believe
the
it.
kind of like, oh yeah. This checks out, right, guys? Yeah. No one they're in Asgard, Sweden-ish part right over there. Shouldn't they consult like some Swedish book? No. What are you talking about? Get your logic out of here. Get your logic out of here, Dave. We don't Dave the translator. We got run out of time. We're on a strict time limit. But yeah, that's what I think must have happened. Like, they're like they had the bum rush. They had to bum rush the entire thing. They must have not consulted a regular translation. So I was like, That's the most logical thing that must have happened. Is there any other goofs that you want to like? Is there any other goofs or anything like that we should be aware of?
yeah. Well, not it is not. It is not so much funny. It's more annoying. They never called Fenrir. They called him Penrir with a P.
I never noticed
Again,
that.
again. I guess is an issue with when they were translating. I guess they must have confused the F with the P, and it like, oh my god, it's like we know better at this
Yeah.
point. We know better at this point, but like, that's weird. Translation's
Yeah.
weird, guys. I'm gonna say this right now. If for those of you saying that translation is the most easiest thing in the world, it's not. It is absolutely not. It's bullshit. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Even the most basic stuff like that, we will still screw up. Alrighty then, guys. If there's
Yeah.
anything else that you guys want to bring up, say so now. Because if not, we'll close it off here for the episode.
Yeah, no, we're good.
Alrighty.
I think that's
Alrighty, guys. Jackie, you said you had something you wanted to talk about. Why don't you? You have the floor.
Okay, I guess I'm feel pretty good now making this announcement. I've been working on this for quite a while, mostly due to personal reasons, and I just didn't want to mention till I was 100% and more sure it was happening. But I'm gonna be attending the Pegasus Fantasy Symphony in Mexico next month. So for those of you listening, well, I'm looking forward to meeting Benjas and any of you attending, anybody listening, I'm definitely looking forward to meeting you. I'm definitely gonna bring some goodies with me to pass out, and the stuff I'm gonna be working on, and I'll get into more details as we get closer to the date. But look forward to it.
All right, I can't wait to hear the reports from both of you guys. Cause like the last time we had a report from Benkas, and we also had Pollux from Universe Saint Seiya. That was a really fun episode. A lot of people really like learning about the concert and stuff like that. So really awesome, really awesome to hear you guys' side of things when it comes time to it. Benkas, do you have anything you'd like to bring up before we head out?
No, it'll be awesome to meet Jackie there, and we're gonna have so much fun. I can't believe we're so like I can't believe the year passed away so quickly. It's so close.
All
It's gonna be
right,
awesome.
alrighty then. All right.
Oh yeah, I do want to bring something up. Sorry. Now that you mentioned it, I did remember. Uh, well, Jackie mentioned that she's translating Cynthia's show Memories, and I actually want to apologize because I've promised, I think, for a couple episodes now that I'm gonna be translating chapters 3 and 4 of Re-Rise into English, but for one thing or for another, I haven't gotten to do that, and I do want to make amends, so I intend to fully commit to doing that in these next couple of weeks. So please look forward to that. I'll be posting I'll be sure to share the information once I have them.
Yeah, take your time. Like I said, we know it's a very time intensive thing, but we do appreciate your hard work and your dedication to bringing it to the fans. All the stuff with Re-Rise of Poseidon. You know, it's been really good. You guys are doing these crazy things. So this means all three of us have worked one way or another on a translation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's hard. Like I did the Spanish to English translation, but well, and that is at least for me, it isn't too hard. But lettering the manga, oh, believe me, that it is a lot of hard work.
Yeah, so it's like it's so,
There's so many that you probably as you read this you won't notice it, but as the person that does it, there's a lot of things you have to look to make sure that it looks nice, that it fits, and sometimes you have to tweak around a few little things, but it's
yeah,
worth it.
and not just that. Like in my case, I worked on the Return of the Phoenix scheme
Yeah.
and I had to rewrite so much dialogue in that game because it was like, okay, this has to make sense to a player and to a fan. So it has to make so that I'm also automatically assuming whoever's playing this game has no idea what a Saint Seiya is. So I have to translate so if I do a translation and rewrite the things as it is, I have to do it in such a way where I have to make sense to not just like a fan, but like a casual player as well. So I understand kind of like the problems with trying to do translation, especially like in your case, you try to put everything into a small little little text box. In my case, it's trying to make sure that the whatever information I'm conveying makes sense to not just a fan, but also to someone relatively cold to the series.
Yeah, or even just English because of as you know with translation, some things will not translate. A lot of things won't translate word by word. Or you have to find the equivalent that expresses the same idea that's trying to be conveyed. And if you translate it literally, it's completely different, but it
Yes.
might be the actual same idea.
Yeah. So that's why it's like whoever tells you like do a direct translation, they are saying they are full of shit. I'm going to say that to you right now. All right. Is there anything else, Becos, that you like to like to bring up before we head out? No.
No, I think it's a good place to start heading out.
All right. As for me, of course, if you're not following, please give me a follow over at my Twitch channel. Again, we are at twitch.tv/L not L Ramses 84, all one word, not L underscore Ramses. Again, that's twitch.tv/L Ramses 84. We are gonna do our recordings here, and it's been going really well. A lot of people really love the last episode, which made me really sad that I had to take that emergency break. But a lot of people, so many people reached out to me afterwards after we recorded, and they absolutely loved this new format that we're doing it on the show. So I'm really happy about it. And we also did it also too on the Saturday Morning Squadron, and that also went really well as well. A lot of people really liked the banter between me and my other host Rob. Which if you haven't listened to that show, give that a listen as well. And if you're not following my other Twitch channel, because I also do stuff, I think I might do something afterwards. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, if if you got time, go check that out. And also too, like we have a website, scosmocast.com. Again, the address is scosmocast.com. And I guess I could talk a little bit about this. I'm not sure if it's gonna be this coming weekend or the next weekend to do it if you want to see a more neurotic version of the Cosmocast with me kind of like half asleep. But I'm gonna do a little donathon for you guys to get some emergency equipment and emergency things out to you guys before the concert. So be on the lookout on the Twitter, on either Twitter at SC Cosmocast, or on my Twitter, which is at Professor Ramses, which is my PNG tuber, which is I'm not a VTuber, I'm just a PNG tuber, which is completely different. It just means I don't have the resources to be a VTuber. So that doesn't mean I'm any different. That doesn't mean I'm no different than the other ones. With that said, hopefully when I can talk about it a little bit more, when I actually pin down what I want to do for 12 to 24 hours, I will inform you guys when and what will happen. Like I said, I don't know if it's going to be this coming weekend, the one that's coming up, or the one that's following it, but I will keep you guys informed as to when it's going to be. And like I said, I want to get everything done before we do the concert. You guys get all your stuff in before then, so you guys can like be ready for that. So you can get everything nice and ready, to like give out stuff for the Cosmocast, when we come time to it. So we can discuss that like at a later time, on our own. But But I'm not. Also, too, I'm not expecting you guys to join me. I don't want you guys to be stuck here as I'm playing like Dead by Daylight for like 20 hours. I don't want you guys doing that. Like, don't do that, please. If you guys want to stop by for like an hour or two, or just say hi, you're welcome to. But don't stay for like the full 24-hour thing. That only insane people like me do that.
Oh, Ram.
Alrighty then, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. It's like I was dreading doing this episode because I always dread doing episodes. Period. But I keep forgetting to. I have a lot of fun doing this with you guys. So hey, thanks a lot for listening. Thanks a lot for enjoying our little time together. We'll see you all in 2 weeks. So with all that said, guys, for Jackie and for Benjas, I'm Ramses here to tell you to keep spreading that cosmos. I will see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
See y'all next episode.
That is the wrong window.